boy, do I miss it. I tuned in I watched everything dealing with SWAT for every second that it was there.
Well,
And
you were missed. You really were. Multiple people. I threw Carl in there first because he was the first one to ask, but many people asked about you.
well, Robin called me.
Did she?
She wasn't there.
She's yeah, I know. She called me to see, if I was anywhere around so I could go help out.
Oh.
Because I've always, well, for 10 years, when I was gone there, I was sitting there with Ruth Niles. This is my girlfriend. I always hung out at her booth. That was the central
Yeah.
place. Between her and Vince Welch, I was right there in center court. And if something happened at SWAT, it happened right through there. And that's where everything and everybody had passed. And you had that miniature wood turner. What's his name? The little guy. Shoot, I can picture him. He's a fun turner. Tim. Uh,
Yoder?
Tim
Yoder.
Yoder?
Yoder. I want to say Yoder.
Yeah.
We can give out Yoder.
Yoder.
He's right. He's always right across.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tim was there.
And the CA Glue people are there, and
Yep.
it's really a family reunion. And then looking at pictures, or there was somebody sent me a copy of a TV spot where they interviewed some of the Turners about the work that was there. And a local station, Channel 4, did a spot, and they did justice to the piece. Unfortunately, they did do some justice to some of the turning pieces they showed, and because the guy didn't know what he was looking at. But it was nice. But I saw all the old regulars, all the old, I'm talking about the brothers, the gang that's been there for 30 years.
Yeah.
All the same old soldiers working the aisles and working everything, keeping
Yep.
things going. Those soldiers never change. They're there every time. And that's how that place runs so smoothly is you don't get a chance to screw up. They're on top of you.
Yep.
And
Well,
it's
Carl
beautiful.
apparently found somebody to step in and help because there was a guy helping him
Yeah.
a little later in.
Yeah, and, he can get Paul Holmes to come in if Paul can travel. That's his manufacturer from St. Louis or Florissant, uh, Missouri. That's the guy that makes all the stainless steel pieces and created most of the new items he has. Paul's really good about it. I knew Paul 20 years before he met Ruth Niles. Paul did machining work and created stuff for me, and which wasn't wood turning related. And it just coincidentally we crossed paths again when I was getting into ornamental turning. I called Paul about making something, and heck, he was already in that world. So it's I think the ornamental turners was supposed to be there, and they weren't there in force like they were supposed to. That's why the numbers for the attendance were down a little bit. Um, Billy, did they have a big show there too, also?
The ornamental turners had a booth. Trey had his one of his lathes set up there. Tress had one of his lathes set up there, and I talked to him for a little bit. They had a fair turnout, I think.
Did Trey bring his the one that he made as his travel rose engine?
Yeah, that little one.
Yep. Nice.
That's
How'd
a good
that look?
It looks great.
I bet.
I gotta see that. I really.
He's going to bring it to level up.
I know.
Bring it to
It looks-
level up.
It looks good. It's a cool looking little rose engine.
Yeah.
And it's,
Machinist.
I understand it's a creatable project. So you guys that say, "Oh, I wonder if I can make that." Yes, you're just going to be up against some of the fondest machining minds in the world, Trey.
Yeah.
And his group. But some of the work he turns out is top of the line, the world's greatest. And it's always an experience to go over there. When I can do a day trip out of here. In fact, that's coming up because they just inaugurated a new train to go from New Orleans to Mobile, and I can get within about 15 miles of Trey's house by train. Nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It
Cool.
worked out good. And
That'd be
then,
great.
yeah, and then I deported my number 3 granddaughter to college. She lives 5 minutes from Trey's house.
Wow.
So when I get there, I
Nice.
can say, "Hey Bella, come pick me up and drop me off over here." And so
Yeah.
I'm working on a master plan here to get over to Dre's house. And Bella says, I'm going to college. Is that what you're thinking about? Oh yeah, that's good. When you become a doctor, then we can work on something else. But it's what is fantastic, folks. If you hadn't been there, you have missed a world-class event. But, and there's a big B on that, but there's an opportunity for you to make a world-class event of your own coming up next September.
Right.
Not the one coming up in a couple of weeks, the one coming up in 13 months. And you're going to have a chance to create your own fantastic event just like this with Level Up. Level Up's going to meet in September 2026. We're going to be in Wisconsin Falls, Wisconsin. We're getting together with wood turners, not companies, not corporations, not sponsors, not people trying to say you something. We are going to meet with real wood turners in real wood turning situations, and we are going to talk, feel, breathe, eat, and spit out wood turning all that weekend. That's right. It's going to be a fantastic chance to get there and work with wood turners. Oh, you don't go sit in the gallery and watch what's going on. You get to be right there. And we're going to have more than one lathe in the room. In fact, we've got over 23 lathes lined up to be on display and to be using. But suppose you don't turn and you're just into the artistic sort. And you want to learn how to do some things off the lathe. We have that covered also to a higher degree than any other symposium. We are going to have off the lathe projects that train you and teach you and show you the art of improving your work, taking your work to the next level, putting that pow right into the work when you get done with it. Because remember, when you cross the room and look at a piece, if it doesn't wink back at you, it doesn't have a wink. So you're going to learn how to put that little sparkle, that little twist, that little glint of something. You'll be able to put that, I'm going to say it, you'll be able to put that Matt Mabry touch on it, where you're going to say, oh, look at that. Where'd you learn that? And then you're going to think, oh, yeah, really? I got those ideas that Level Up. And it wasn't just that. I learned how to take this and put it on top of that, cut it away with this, burn it over with that, and then overlay it with this. And then, and you take all those little pieces, put them all in your mind, and what comes out is going to be your art. And we're going to look for that. And that's what you learn at Level Up. In less than 1 month from today, you will be taught, you'll learn how to register for these events. You'll be able to sign up, get on track, everything else, get everything going. We've got information on where you can make it a hotel, camping, motorhome, everything, just like that. This is going to be the family event with us. This is our family. You can be able to come hang out with. Yeah, you worry about that. But this is going to be the family you can come and hang out with, the family you can get along with, and kid with, and joke with, and learn from, and teach, share. This all started 6 years ago with us wanting to get a group of people together to do one thing each week, share wood turning. And that's what's going to happen in September 2026 with Level Up. That's Level Up. Now, folks, if you're a member, and you've probably seen it pop out today, the newsletter came out today. I get the newsletter on Wednesday morning, just like you do. I don't get any special privileges. I'll talk to the crew about that. But I get the newsletter like you do, and I send it off to my editor, and she breaks it down into PDFs. Why? Because then I could take it and attach it to websites and Facebooks and emails and all that. And I've disseminated it to about 25 or 30 different formats during the day because then I can get it out to more and more hands. And it only goes out as, hey, take a Labor Day break and take a look at some fantastic wood turning. If you don't belong to a club, here's one for you. If you like to see some world class wood turning, right here. Well, today's newsletter is all of that. My daughter, who does the editing for me, she says, that piece that's blue, how in the hell did he do that? And I said, well, I hadn't really looked through it. I was really bad and embarrassed. I hadn't really looked through it. I immediately got it and sent it to her to get it done. And I go back and look through and say, oh, wait, that's not his best work. That's just some of his work. You ain't seen nothing yet. And some of the work that Dewey's done is really just got her amazed at how you could take it and blend this and blend that and come back and turn these things around. So when you see the newsletter, you're looking at world class art put together by world class wood turners in your club, and you get it for free. Not only that, but I ask a favor of you. Once you have it, give it away. Yes, send it to all your wood turning buddies. Post it on all your wood turning sites. Share it with your wood turning club. Spread it around. There's no commercial advertisement in there that anyone can take advantage be misled by. This is a pure newsletter. We don't permit advertising. We won't condone it. This is just wood turning. We share ideas, thoughts, processes, techniques, hints, tricks, everything. So if you got something for the newsletter, it's editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. JJ's standing by right now, waiting to get photographs from you if you went to SWAT. Yes, no matter how crummy you think your photographs are, they're all fun. They're all informative. They're all instructive. So send it to JJ. They put them together. And don't forget, the third step in this marvel of what we have going is our website. There's not another one like it in the entire world. I can stand by that fact. It's cloudy outside. We just got a little rain going. I can say my light is stripey, if I can say that. Yes, none like it in the entire world. This thing is geared towards wood turning. We don't sell anything. We don't promote anything. We're not owned by anybody. We don't charge anything. We don't limit access. We don't keep you in, keep you out, or anything else. It's all there 24/7. And everything you see tonight, everything you hear tonight is going to be on that website. There's not another club in the world that can say that. We're so open book, it's unfunny. Why? What are we here for? We're here to share wood turning. Folks, you've been with us for a while, and it's time for you to step up and help us grow. We want you to help us grow. We want you to be part of this organization. We want your input. We want your feel. We want to hear from you. We want to know you're there and know what's going on. The only way we keep growing is when you're growing. And it might sound like we're back to seminary someplace, but no, this is the truth. The only way this organization will grow is with you. So when you have a chance, something pops into your head and you say, oh my God, I wish I knew that. Did you get it here or can you share it here? You know, those goofy little things you see us do, you'll copy, you'll do it. I know. There's things you've seen just tonight that will get people copying. So when you get a chance, make a copy. Share with somebody. I send mine out, and I'm working every week on finding more and more sources, more clubs, more newsletters I can send this to and copy out. And clubs don't turn me down. I send it to them, and they say thank you. Once they see that there's no advertisement, no connection, You don't have to be a member. You don't have to pay anything, and there's no lock-in. It's only sharing information. We're home. So share information, get with us and share it. All right, that's three big steps of what wood turning is with the worldwide wood turning, folks. Oh, am I happy to be here each Wednesday night with you folks. And I'm sorry I missed a lot, but more than that, I'm sorry I missed all you people and a great time y'all had. And the first thing I saw was Billy on his knees in front of Rebecca, the group. But what made me laugh the most was not watching Billy and Rebecca. It was watching the people in a gallery around them watching Billy and Rebecca saying, "What the hell is going on here?" Because Billy, you did a great job. You really
Thanks.
did. You locked it in.
Oh, Ed, you know Jim Bob, right?
Yeah,
He won the American Beauty.
I know. I saw that. When I saw it, I thought just a prop. But no, in real, because
Yep.
they're on another posting. Man, that was something else.
Yep. Oh, and guess what else? One Way donated, uh, what is the big one way lathe?
2436.
The 2436. One Way donated a 2436 to SWAT.
Aha.
It will be used next year.
Kevin and, I'm going to say it's Tim, went there to be with
Vince.
Vince, hang out
Right.
with Vince, because Vince is a new distributor for him. And I said, Vince, you can't get in a better crowd. Those people are good people. They'll work with you. They're trying to change the basis of their business and get a little more representation in the United States. And hey, only just in Canada, folks. It's not like we're breaking a lot of rules. But Trump's going to put a tariff on it or whatever. And it's going to make it a little difficult. So it's going to be a little hard for them. They have to work at it. But they're good people, and they'll jump on a second. They'll jump to help you. They will.
Yeah, the tariff thing. I bought another Vicmark chuck from the folks out of Canada that handled the Vicmarks, and the tariff thing is biting them in a way that they pretty much have to pass a lot of that on to us. So I paid a little more for my chuck than I otherwise would have, but it's still a great chuck, and I didn't mind spending a little extra money.
And
Right.
if it's a quality you want, it's a quality you'll pay for.
Yep.
That's what you got to look at. And folks, if you drop quality, that's what you've just dropped. You didn't drop any extra money. You just dropped quality. And I had a hard time explaining to people when I went with all the one-way stuff. I found a guy in Baltimore that was a one-way distributor. And when I wanted to add on certain gizmos and gadgets, I went to him to get the stuff and get it all worked out. But I picked it up from him in Baltimore when I was there. But they were very helpful, very helpful. And when my machine got flooded out in Hurricane Katrina, and I had to rebuild my drive, I got on the telephone with One Way. They taught me how to fix my wiring after they helped me rebuild my starter to get my machine back online. They stayed on the phone with me to say, okay, the blue, you understand what blue is? The green wire, you understand what that is? And it stayed right with me. They must have known I was an imbecile and doing what I was doing, so we worked it all out.
The tariffs is why Martin Saban Smith is closing down his Hampshire Sheen products. It's because he can't sell enough just in the UK to stay in business. And the tariffs, he can no longer afford to ship outside of the UK.
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, the tariffs, not to get political, and I'm going to say my bit, and then we're going to segue away from it.
Good.
The tariffs aren't being paid by the vendors. in X country. It's being paid by the American consumer. So it's the American consumer if they want to continue purchasing said products, or they're going to go elsewhere. So it's no different than what's taking place in the other governments where there's tariffs and VAT ad valorem that is added to the products that for the small businesses that are sending products overseas. It's no different there. So with that,
It's a matter of doing quality business
that's
all
right.
the way around.
If you got a good
Yep.
product, you got a good product, you got good customer service, you will continue to sell your items. So
He's got a good product, but he doesn't want to have to rip everybody off by raising the price so high that nobody can afford it either.
so Dale,
Well,
once again, Dale,
there's
once
more
again,
to it than that.
The tariffs
There's a lot more to it.
Yeah, I know Martin, and he and I have talked about this, and there's more to it than that.
Ready?
Right, we guaranteed you a change in topic, didn't we?
Yes.
And so,
I thought that I don't let you go back on your word, Chandler. Okay?
oh yeah,
Hey.
yep.
Hey,
I
Eddie.
hear you. Right? Go
I
ahead.
got my
Brenda.
stickers. I got my stickers the other day, Eddie.
It took me a while. I apologize.
That's all right. I got them. I got one on my golf cart now.
Yeah, and
Outstanding,
anybody wants
Brenda.
stickers, the rules on stickers change. You have to order them. If you email me and order the stickers and send me the money, I can get your stickers. Don't do that PayPal thing or that other system.
Venmo or something like that.
Yeah, that other one
Yeah,
that used to be
yeah.
on a website. Don't
Right.
do that. I have a ton of money in that account, and I
Ooh.
can't get it out because of some BS about how they want to sell me a guaranteed such and such, and they have me locked in on buying it. And I'm not buying it. They keep my money. I'm not paying $300 for this thing or whatever they think I bought. So I'm in headline with that group.
Wow.
So I mean, so don't put any more money there. I won't put any money there. And if I lose a little bit
Dave-
of money I got in there, what the hell?
Dave will pull down that link from the website then, Eddie.
Yeah. We did pull the link down, but if you thought it was there before, you see any trace to it, don't go there. You email me. My email address is on the contact list, and tell me you want the stickers. There are 10 stickers for $5. If you're out of the country, you got to pay me postage, and I'll email them. And really, the $5 is paying the postage and all to you. So I'll do that, and I still have it was about 1,000 of them sitting here.
Oh, wow.
So
Hey, Eddie.
yeah, well,
I got a question though. When I got mine, I had to count them 4 or 5 times because I only got 9.
wait a minute. Let me clarify this. If I said you get 10 for $5, how many dollars did you send me?
I don't remember.
You see, you got to be careful in this club. You got to be careful.
You do.
Yeah, I
Oh.
thought it was kind of strange. I mean, 9. Why 9?
You
don't-
see,
Hey, Dave, we gonna do gallery tonight?
All right,
And
so
Essentially, Chen would have to
with
change
that,
mine.
so-
You see?
Real
All right.
quick, real quick, Dave, hold on. Real quick, speaking of changing the subject, for those of you that have never witnessed the Mike Mahoney, Stuart Batty turnoff,
I have, yeah.
you have missed one of the most hilarious
On
things
YouTube.
you'll ever see.
Yep.
Go look for it on YouTube. It's hilarious.
I stuck my foot in my mouth. I walked into the room over there and I was looked over there and I said, "What are they doing over there?" Oh, they're getting setting up for that challenge. I said, "Oh, so Stuart Battery's going to be going up against some other guy, huh?"
Yeah, some other guy.
Some other guy.
Cindy
All right.
Droza. Cindy
Good,
Droza
good.
has it on her website. The whole thing.
Yeah,
All right,
she
sweet.
filmed it.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, guys, we're half an hour into the main program, and we have an international turner doing the demo for us this evening. So we are going to go over to England and check out Mr. Paul Hannaby. Paul, see, I see you here. So Paul's going to be inviting us into his shop tonight. He's going to be turning the project for us. His way, his tools, his style. And so with that, unless Paul wants to sequester questions from the gallery, otherwise, please keep your comments to the end of the demonstration. If you have questions that need to be answered, type them into the chat during tool changeovers or breaks in the action. I will ask them to Paul. With that, I am going to mute everybody. Folks, please stay on mute. Don't unmute yourself. Unless, again, Paul doesn't have a problem having people chime in. And if that is the case, please be respectful of each other. Don't step on each other when you're trying to talk. And so I'm going to mute everybody now, Paul.
Okay. Okay, I'm back.
I got you. I got you.
So good.
You
Evening,
can do your
evening, everyone,
gallery.
or morning in my case, but evening, everyone else. Yeah, I was thinking, I've done quite a few demos, so I'm thinking, what else can I do that's different? So I think I thought of something that's at least a little bit different, in some ways at least. So I bought some of these a while back. I don't know how many of you recognise these, but it's a Brazil nut husk. When you get Brazil nuts, they're all in there, and they take those out and sell those as nuts, and this is what's left, and they sell those to unsuspecting wood turners like me. I bought a load of these a little while ago. That's a sort of slightly smaller one, as you can see. I've not found anywhere in the UK that sells them, but I bought these from Germany. But I think if you Google it, shop around, you might well find them somewhere a bit closer to home. But I've not found any in the UK yet. But the good thing about these is it's almost bowl shaped to start with, and I find them quite interesting to turn. I mean, this one, it looks from the angle of the base that the edge is slightly angled, but all I'll do is straighten that up and just flatten the base. I think I've got enough thickness in the bottom to do it. That is one of the constraints with these. You've got a limit on the wall thickness, so your shape's got to follow what's there. So that does constrain you somewhat, but I've turned them in the past and they look interesting. So I thought it's something interesting to have a go at. So that's the plan. We're going to turn one of these, turn the outside, put a spigot on the bottom to hold it, and then turn the inside and then remove the spigot. So that's the plan, and I'll move over to the lathe and we'll continue from there. So I've got the set of gripper jaws on the lathe here, and my plan is just to grip from the inside. I've got a bit of flicker going on there. Hopefully it'll settle down in a minute. So I'm going to grip that internally and just expand the jaws to grip that. And then hopefully that's got a reasonably good grip. These are thick enough to be moderately strong, so I don't think that's going to be a problem in that sense. So that's holding the outside. The other thing I've got here is a center attached to the tailstock. Is that flicker getting too bad?
Yeah, it's flicking pretty good.
Yeah, let me just see if I can. I think the problem there is where I've got the cameras plugged into a USB hub. So I'll just try reconfiguring a few things. I'm going to probably go quiet for a minute because I'll have to unplug my audio to do this. I'll switch the audio on one of the cameras around. Actually, no, I'll ditch that camera and move this one, and that might just do it. So I won't lose the audio, but you're going to lose the camera for a second. Let me just swap a lead, see if this fixes it.
Whatever you did, this one here stopped flashing.
Well, I just need to go back into OBS and reconfigure that camera. Right, get it off that. Right, hopefully that's actually functioning. Yeah, we've got video there. That looks a bit less flickery, so. Oh yeah, there's the other camera. Yeah, that looks better. We'll go with that. Still hear me okay?
Yes, looks good.
Good, okay. All good to go
So
then.
we just,
Yep.
okay, we got you now. Yep.
Yeah, I've got sort of more cameras than I need plugged in, so I've just unplugged one and shunted that one onto the another input, so I'm not getting the two on the same hub. So that seems to have sorted it. Yeah, go back to what I was saying here. I've mounted the husk on that set of gripper jaws internally, expanded into the opening to grip that. Here I've got a live center, but this one, you might notice there's no point. I've actually ground the point away, so I've got a ring center without a point. Because the material here is moderately thin, I'm using that without the point, so I'm not penetrating deep into the surface. So I'm just going to put the shallowest of marks into that once I've flattened the foot off, but I'll flatten the foot off first before bringing the center up. So first job is to set my tool rest across the bottom here, just below center, and I'm going to bring a spindle gouge in here and just flatten off the base here. You could probably do it with a bowl gouge, but I tend to use spindle gouges on the outside of smaller bowls anyway. So we're on a fairly small diameter. I mean, that chuck's a 4-inch chuck, so we've got about a 4-inch bowl there. So I'm just going to take off enough to flatten the base. We'll see if that's enough. A little bit more, that's sort of halfway. If I do that, you can see the other view as well. I was setting all my cameras and equipment up earlier, and I usually have a tablet mounted on the lathe, also signed in, and that's what I use as my remote monitor. Basically, my laptop's just off to the side of the lathe, so I use the tablet as my remote monitor, and I switched that on, tried to connect it to Zoom, and it said it was an out-of-date version. Went through the update process, and it says the tablet's too old, it won't update it. So I've switched my remote screen here. I've used my phone instead, so I've got a slightly smaller screen, but I can still see what I'm doing. Right, so I think that's probably enough of a flat there. When I reverse this, I've already sort of figured out what I'm going to do in terms of grip and jaw sizes, etc. I've got another lathe, another chuck here with the Axminster O'Donnell jaws. These are 1.5-inch jaws. So I've set up some dividers here for the diameter of the spigot. Let me hold it that way. There, so I'll set the dividers there to the size of the jaws. There, that's 1.5 inches, so that's what I'll be using to hold this when I'm doing the inside. So I can use my dividers on the rest. I'm just going to bring that rest up just a little bit. Left foot on the rest, right point just waving in the air. Just to scribe a circle, the diameter of the spigot. Now you've probably heard this umpteen times already, but you don't want the right point touching the rest, because on the back side of the wood it's going up, and if the right point touches it, it'll throw your dividers up into the air. So left point on the rest and left point in contact with the wood only. So that has made a mark there. I don't know how well you can see it, but I can, which usually helps. I've got a pencil here, so I just define the line there with a pencil, so you probably see it a little better then. It's just about got to the edge of the flat that I've created. So I've only just managed it there. So, but I think that's enough. Now those jaws I'm using are fairly shallow jaws. They are just a whisker under 5 millimeters, so 3/16 of an inch. I'm just setting a depth gauge to that dimension. So I've got a depth gauge here. That is set to 3/16, the depth of the jaw, so I can check my spigot isn't too deep using that. Now I can carry on with a spindle gouge here, or I could switch to a parting tool or something else if I preferred. And I'm just going to take away enough of that material here to make a shallow spigot that's less than 3/16 deep. And by angling my gouge and angling the bevel in slightly, then I can create a dovetail just off the gouge without using any other fancy tooling. So I can check my spigot depth there, and it's about 2/3 the depth of that depth gauge, so I can go a little bit deeper. This is quite hard material, so I think strength-wise it's probably not too bad, but I'm also bearing in mind that it isn't wood. It doesn't have the same grain structure, so it might behave in a slightly different way. Although it appears to be hard, it might not have the sort of the linear strength that you get from the grain in wood, where it's stronger one way than another. This might be not quite so hard. So that's roughly cut the spigot. Now, from that point, if I think I need it, I can bring the center in. But even if I don't need it, I'll bring it in and just make a mark there. It's not costing me anything to leave it there at this stage, so I'll leave it as it is and start working on the outside of the bowl now. So set the rest up. We've got a slightly irregular surface there, so I'm just setting the rest far enough back and spinning the piece before I turn the lathe on to make sure there's no bit sticking out that's going to catch me out.
Hey, Paul, couple
Yes.
questions. Does the nut husk have a smell to it, and is it brittle?
In terms of smell, you're probably asking the wrong person because my sense of smell's pretty bad.
That's how I am.
I
Yeah.
can't smell anything of it, but it's probably quite old and dry. So whatever smell was there is probably long gone. So no, nothing really of note. I mean, some wood, yeah, I could say, yeah, that smells of this or that. I can't smell anything with this, either from the other one I've got or from this one as I turn it. No real sort of strong smell of
Okay.
anything really. No, nothing at all.
And then how about, is there any particular grain direction? Is it end grain, side grain, burl?
I mean, I don't think, like I said, I don't think this has a grain in the sense that you get with wood. But when you see this surface turned, you will see some sort of patterning and variation in colour, and that is possibly due to the direction of growth of whatever it is. I mean, I hesitate to call it wood, but it's obviously organic material of some description and works like wood, but strictly speaking, it isn't. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it hasn't got the uniform grain that wood has, but. Yeah, we'll see it. We'll see what sort of appears as I cut through it. Any other questions?
No, you're good. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. So all I'm going to do now is to try and even that surface out. I can see a ghost image as it's turning, so I'm just going to work to that and try and turn some of this away and get to a uniform surface. Now, obviously, at this stage, I need to leave the spigot and a flat just around it as it is, but I could, at the end, come back in and turn a smaller foot. That's a moderately large foot for a piece this size. I've cut some of that surface away. You can see there's still the odd bit, but you can see here, there is, let me just zoom right in here. Move that camera a little bit. How we do it? Let me put that on full screen. Just playing with the focus now. Hang on. Just went past it.
I
I'm
need
back.
glasses now.
Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing on the surface.
Okay.
So there is sort of almost like a fibrous sort of pattern to it. So there are sort of lines that don't go in straight lines. It sort of goes in all sorts of directions. So it's a little bit of almost like a woven mat.
Right.
Ins and outs and all sorts of things. There's still bits here which aren't yet flat. I mean, you could part turn this and leave some of that surface if you like. I'm going to try and turn as much of that away as possible. Let me go back to my other view and I'll just zoom this back out just a little. All right, go back to that. So I'll turn a little bit more away. Now, what I often do with bowls where I want to shorten where I want to shrink the foot size after, is to leave a bit of a step at the bottom, like that. So I'm leaving the flat for the jaws to engage with, but I've raised the bottom of the curve, so that's left me enough material then to follow the curve in and reshape the foot at a later stage. So I'm just sort of thinking ahead there, and that's something I often do with bowls where I want to shrink the foot, just by creating that little step, raise the foot slightly, or raise the base of the curve slightly, and then you can follow that curve in at the point where you turn the spigot away. So the spigot becomes a foot rather than being a completely sacrificial thing that you turn away. You can see there I'm getting apart from this bit here, a more even surface, and there's a little bit there. So I'm going to cut just a little bit more away. So I'll get a little bit deeper into that step and take a little bit more away here. Now I'm following the convention of turning a side grain bowl here, but for no apparent reason, because it's not a side grain bowl. So I'm cutting from center to edge. As it isn't a side grain bowl, do I need to follow that sort of rule and cut that way? Possibly not. And to be honest, to cut right into the bottom there, it would be easier to cut towards the center. So I'm going to come in the other way now and do a cut the other direction, just to see if I'll get an equally good finish. Because that is an easier cut because of having the tail stop there in the center, etc. So I can't position the gauge for a proper push cut. But that's worked fine. It looks as good a finish as cutting the other way. So it looks like I can cut center to edge to center and get equally good results in either direction. So that's good news to me. This bit here, I've still got a couple of inclusions, so I'll turn a little bit more away at that point. Now in turning this, it does feel moderately hard, so I'm not expecting my gouge, the edge, to last that long. I think it's done all right so far, and it's still cutting okay, but pretty soon I'll be looking to swap that for a sharper one. So cut a little bit more away near the center here. And I'm just trying to get rid of most of those inclusions. You can leave the odd one, perhaps there's little ones here. I'm happy to leave those where there's a tiny one there as well. But I'm trying to get a relatively smooth surface on the majority of it. Where I've finished that cut, I've left a little bit of a step. Well, not so much a step, but definitely a change in direction. So I'll just turn that away. And now I'm working back towards the chuck. So I'm just going to be careful not to actually try and turn the chuck jaws as well. That's never a good idea. So I'll bring my gauge up towards the chuck, just very gently, putting no pressure on it. And at this point, I am sort of sensing that that edge has lost its sharpness. So I'm going to switch to another gouge now. So we'll just finish off the last couple of cuts with a freshly sharpened gouge. This one's one of those nice M42 gauges, so that should last a bit longer anyway. So I'm cutting fairly close to the chuck jaws there, but I'm stopping just short of it. Where I've left a little bit here uncut, I'll take that out when I flatten the top of the bowl off. So on the outside you can see I've got a relatively uniform curve, a little bit of a bump just down the bottom there, which I think I'll try and fix now. That's slightly better. Okay, now in terms of sanding, I'm going to reverse chuck this to finish the foot. So at that point I can sand the outside. So I'm not going to sand the outside of the bowl now. I can leave that until I get to the point where I do the reverse chucking of it. So take the tailstock away. That has left a very faint ring there, but it's enough for me to recenter that and to reverse chuck it when I need to. So I can take that out of the chuck there. I mean, that does feel fairly thin, and at the bottom, right down here where you've got these, there's like a sort of 4 ridges and then 4 sort of lobes, probably where you've got a couple of nuts in each of those, I'd imagine. And it does feel moderately thin at that point, so I can't have gone a lot farther than I did. Yeah, like I said, you've got to sort of try and keep within the constraints of what thickness of material you've got, and I think I've just about managed that there. So swap chucks. This one, if I've got my measurements right, should fit. So that's in there, pressing the centre in to get that to seat properly, and that seems a reasonably good grip, which is always a good thing. I'll take the tailstock away now. I'm on a short bed one way here, 24/16, so if I'm working off the end of the bed, the tailstock is probably going to get in the way, so I'll get that out of the way. So set up the tool rest across the face of the bowl now, a little bit below centre. You can see the top edge here I've as yet untouched. So I'll lock the tool rest down, and I'll switch to a bowl gauge. I've got a 3/8 bowl gauge here. So I'll just flatten off that top edge. That's the first job. Just pointing the bevel straight across, taking light cuts, because I've got an irregular surface there. I don't want to go at it too heavy in case the tool decides to grab. So nice even cuts. And all I'm trying to do is to take away that uneven edge and leave a flat edge to the bowl. And that's worked. I've got a continuous edge. That's as much as I need to take away. And it's also exposed how much material I've got beneath that edge and how much I can turn away. So from there, I can start turning the inside. Now I'm going to carry on doing that with the gouge. I guess you could also use a scraper on this. I'm going to go with a gouge and bring it sort of the handle right across the bed, pretty much at 45 degrees. So my bevel's pointing straight down this surface here. I mean, on the outside of the bowl, if I put my gouge here, and look on the overhead there, that's the angle at the top of the bowl. It turned in slightly at the top, so I've gone beyond 90 degrees and it's coming in a bit. So that's the angle I need to point the bevel to cut in that direction. So to get my bevel there, you can see where the gouge has got to be. It's right across the other side of the bed. So I've got a dust hood behind the lathe, which you can't see, and it's just going to get in my way. So I'm just moving it behind the tool rest so it's out of my way. Okay. Now, if I switch to that one. Or have we, no, I have that one. Do the other way around. That way around. So I'm bringing my gauge right across. Now I'm trying to do this without standing in front of the camera because it's just behind my right shoulder. So if I move across too far like that, you won't see a lot. So I'm just going to try and keep out of the way. If I don't, just shout. I'll get in the way.
Okay. No problem.
So cutting that in there, and you can see the angle of the tool against the rest. Now at that point, what I could do is reconfigure this completely, because I've got the tool rest running at 90 degrees across the bed. And let me go back to the overhead view. And you can see where the gouge handle is, or the gouge shaft is, it's right across there. What I could do here, and this is what I do on an undercut bowl sometimes, is turn the rest into the bowl. Now on this rest, as you can see on the end, it thins out towards the end.
Never figured these damn things out.
Yeah, let's get it in front of the camera there. You see at this end it's narrow.
God damn it.
So I can put the
A
rest.
hot mic.
Pardon?
Just telling the co-host there's a hot mic. Go ahead, Paul.
You're muted, Paul.
Somebody hit mute all, which is the wrong thing to do. Paul, unmute yourself.
Okay, got it. Just have to
Thank
run
you.
back to my laptop. Sorry. So now I've set the rest up across the edge here, angled into the bowl, as you can see there. So now when I put my gouge on the rest at the correct angle, I'm almost at 90 degrees to the rest. So it's a more stable support for the cut. So just for this top section, where I'm cutting in, and I'm cutting in on that undercut, that to me makes it a more stable position and a safer sort of place to start. Again, I'm going to try and avoid getting in the way of the camera, so I'll come in low. So I'll come in on the edge there, point the bevel straight in, follow that edge, flute at about 45 degrees, cut that in a little bit, and we can see from that first cut just how much I've cleaned up. There's just a little bit of surface here which I haven't touched, but apart from that bit there, that inch or so, the rest of it on there. So thickness wise, I've got 3/16 thickness, so I think I'm gonna do okay on this one thickness wise. I'll cut that a little bit thinner to try and get that last little bit. So coming right on the edge and cut in. See what we've got now. That should be enough. So
Paul,
I've
about how fast you turning there?
sorry,
About how fast are you turning?
about 1500 RPM there.
Okay.
So I'm applying a similar sort of principle. If I was cutting wood, I'd be turning at that sort of speed. I'm working on a 4-inch diameter, so I'm working in this divided into 6,000. So 4 into 6,000 gives you 1,500. So that's where I'm getting that from. I mean, depending on who you listen to, it's between 6,000 and 9,000. So I could potentially be between 1,500 to 2,000, let's say. But yeah, it seems to work okay with that. I'm just going to adjust the rest a little bit farther round. Just make sure I'm not hitting the bowl, and then we'll do another cut on that top edge. I think thickness wise I'm okay right on the edge. I'm doing about the top inch currently. and using that as a bit of a guide to see how much I need to take away to get rid of all the sort of internal original surface. So apart from a little bit there, that's more or less clean that up. I mean, on a small piece like this, I could always use a set of calipers, set it to the wall thickness near the edge, and just see that I'm keeping it consistent, and that is thickening up, so I'm on the right side of sort of being cautious there, I think. So I can thin it out a little bit, just come inside the rim and take a bit more wood away, or a bit more material. I keep calling it wood, but really it isn't.
Got a great shape to it.
Yeah, it's cutting quite dusty. It's not giving me big shavings like wood, and again that's still thickening up ever so slightly. But I'm through all of the original surface now, so I don't need to take any more off there. I'll take another very light cut. It is, as you can hear, there's a little bit of vibration there from the cut. I'll take one more light cut, and I'll just put my finger on the outside of the bowl. That might damp it slightly. I've got my shoulder in the way, haven't I? Just duck down a bit.
No, you're fine.
So a little bit less noise there, just because I've got my finger behind the bowl and just giving it a little bit of support, and that damps some of those vibrations. And I've got a cleaner cut there. There was a little bit of ripple from the original cut, but that's a cleaner cut now. Not perfect, but it's certainly within what I'd be able to sand away. So we'll go with that. Right, so I can work on the bottom 2/3 now. So get farther in. I've changed the rest position so I can cut farther on round. And as this is going to end up fairly thin at the bottom, I think, I got the impression that where I was testing it at the bottom, there wasn't a lot of material there. So I'm not going to go too crazy with this in terms of thin, because there isn't that much material there, but it should be enough. So that wasn't the optimum position for using a bowl gouge. I mean, ideally, I want to be as close to the gouge as possible and hold it close in, but because I was trying to dodge the camera and keep out of shot, I was doing it at arm's length. But you see there, I've got 2/3 of the way in, I would say. Let's get a bit more light down here. So you can see I've just got that original surface just at the bottom now. So I think I've more or less hit what's probably the thinnest section. I'm going to take some of that material out of the centre first, because that's where there's most of it, and then work back to take the whole cut. Cut that all the way to the middle.
Hey, Paul, can you explain that gouge?
This one is what I call a traditional gouge, or a straight cut gouge. Let me just switch to this one. I'll put it under here. Hopefully I can show you the tip.
Yep.
Right.
A little to your...
Just do a refocus on that. Give me a sec. It's this one's a USB microscope camera, so it gives you really good close-ups.
There you go. That's...
But it's
Once
very
it gets
finicky.
dialed in, you'll be able to explain what I'm seeing.
So what you can see there is that if I put it at 90 degrees to where it was. That probably makes more sense. So what, there's the flute, turn it 90 degrees. That's a side view. Still not quite in focus, is it? Let's have another
Yeah,
go.
maybe back off a little bit.
Hopefully that's close enough anyway. What I've got there is it's just under 50 degrees grind on the bevel, but I've left the edge, it's angled back at about half that, so maybe 25 degrees angle there, but it's a straight wing rather than swept back. You see there the wing at the back, you can see it's straight. So as I say, it's what I call a straight grind or traditional grind. No swept back wings, but I find that a very efficient cut for inside a bowl. And that's what I normally use when I'm doing the inside. Now, as I'm approaching the bottom there, I'm just gonna resharpen that gouge. It's starting to just lose its edge a bit, so give me 2 seconds while I just touch that up on the grinder. It wasn't that clear to see on that little USB camera, but if I show you a bigger gauge, thinking about it, let's try this. This is a 1/2 inch gauge, so a little bit thicker. So there's a 1/2 inch gauge, and you can see on that one, there's a double bevel as well. There's the main bevel, and then there's a second bevel, which is just shortening the working bevel. I'm just taking the corner off at the bottom. So see that line where there's that second bevel. The second bevel, I don't know what angle it is, I never measure it, but all I do is knock the corner off after I've created the first bevel. But yeah, that's my usual gauge for doing the inside of a bowl. So sharpen the gauge, I've got a little bit more material to go there. That looks quite interesting with those lobes actually still there, so you could actually leave it, but I'm going to turn a little bit more away. Now what I'm trying to do here is feather in the cut into the existing shape so I don't leave a big step at the point where I start the cut. I think one mistake I've seen the beginners I teach make is they sort of shape the bowl and they want to just hit the bottom and cut the bottom part again, and they angle the gouge in such a way that when they hit the wood it immediately takes a bigger cut than they wanted, and you create a ridge. What I try to do is come back farther up the curve so the cut isn't actually happening, and then you just push the gauge forward until the angle of the bevel picks up the curve and starts the cut. And that way you feather the cut in from nothing, and you don't leave a ridge at the start of the cut. Now I'm down to sort of 1.5 lobes left, if you want to call it that. So a little bit more to go, but the whole curve feels a smooth and continuous curve because I'm feathering that edge in. So I start farther up than I need to feather it in, and then by the time it's starting to cut, I'm in about the right place. So I probably need to do a couple more cuts. I'm just going to stop and check just to see what's going on there. Yeah, sounds like I've got enough material left there. It's not a huge amount, but it's thick enough. So we'll come in for another cut. And I'm trying to get that gauge to cut all the way to the centre. And when I hit the centre, I want the gauge pointing straight across, so I'll leave the bottom of the bowl flat. Now I've hit the bottom and cleared out the existing surface there. There's a little bit slightly farther up. See it just there on the camera. So I'll take another cut and try and shallow it out before I hit the bottom again. So I don't want to go any deeper than I have. So I'll just take a little bit of material out higher up on the curve, and that's reduced it yet further. Yeah, there isn't a lot there, but and you can hear it's starting to sound thinner. So I'll get my head out of the way. So I think I just about got it there. There's a faintest trace there, but no more than that. So I think that's as much as I need to do with the bowl gouge. Just get rid of some of that. So we've got a complete surface there. Yes.
What kind of chuck and jaws you got going on there? I know you said it earlier, but just to clarify.
It's an Axminster chuck. This is one of the old Axminster Super Precision chucks. They no longer make these. They stopped making, or they stopped selling them about 10 years ago. They weren't actually made by Axminster. They were made by Toolmex, which I think is a Polish company. But they were always regarded as a very good chuck, very solid and robust. It's quite a deep chuck, and it's based on just a traditional engineering chuck. And I think you can still buy the chuck from Toolmex, but they cost 3 times as much as a wood turning chuck these days. So I think that's why I sort of dropped them from the range, because they were getting too expensive. But the jaws, these O'Donnell jaws are great for this sort of thing. You've got sort of the smooth surface here and an extended jaw, so you can get in behind bowls and things like that. So they give you good access to the back. And they make these O'Donnells in 3 sizes. This is the medium size. There's a 2-inch, 1.5 inch, and 1 inch. And they used to make a 3/4 inch as well, which I've actually got, but you can't get them anymore.
Nice.
So yeah, I quite like them for little jobs like this. And it also, as well as the dovetail there, you've got a centre bore, which is probably about 1 inch on this 1.5 inch or 1.25 inch maybe. So you've got that centre bore as well to grip something, just a straight smooth bore. And you've got all 3 as well. So they're sort of dual purpose in that sense, and quite versatile jaws, I think. So I'm going to do a little bit of sanding here. The inside isn't too bad. Hopefully if I start at 120 grit, that should see me through that one. I mean, being quite a hard material, but it does seem to sand quite freely. So I don't think I'm going to have too much of a problem with the sanding. I've got no torn grain to speak of, because there's no grain, I suppose. So that's quite a decent sort of surface straight away. The bottom isn't perfect, but I'll live with that. Just a little bit more at the bottom. It's not so much the finish at the bottom, but I think where I cut in that earlier cut, I cut slightly too deep at the centre, so the shape wasn't quite right, but I've just managed to sand that to true it up. Now I'm using a 2-inch cloth backed abrasive here. This being a small bowl, if I need to, I can fold that in half, so I've got 1 inch wide abrasive, and where I need to get into tighter areas, that's what I often do with this. I'm just going to drop the speed off a bit. I forgot when I started, but normally I knock about 1/3 off the speed, so I've gone from 1500 down to about 1200, 1100. Just reduce heat. All sanding produces friction and heat. Some materials are sensitive to that, and you get heat checking on the surface and cracks and crazes going on. So we want to try and minimize that. I'll just sand that top rim. And I'm going to sand the, while I'm here, I think I'll sand the top half of the bowl. Depends on how I reverse chuck it as to whether I can sand all the way to the edge. So just in case I can't, I'm going to, at this stage, sand that top section. And I've just hit that with 180 without going back to 120. And I think that's worked okay, actually. My 180 is wearing out, so I'm going to get a fresh piece, but that's good enough. So I'll come back with a fresh piece. Treat your abrasive like any other cutting tool. If it's not doing it, then get a sharp one. It doesn't last forever. Somebody more famous than I once said, use your abrasive like someone else is paying for it. And I think there's a good message in there. So that's 180 on the outside. The other thing I do, normally I'd be wearing a mask or a respirator. I'm not now because I'll be too muffled, but I've got a little brush here and I just brush all the dust out with that rather than trying to blow it out. Because if you get your head close enough to blow it out, then you're going to blow half the dust back in your face, and any sort of dust isn't really good for you, is it? So if you can minimise that, so much the better. So I'm just concentrating on that top half on the outside. The reason I'm not sanding all of the outside is because I'm probably going to reshape the bottom section. So just worrying about the top 2/3. We'll go down to 320. That's the next one. That's feeling a little bit worn out, so I'll get a fresh piece. I'll get through quite a bit of abrasive, so I'll just buy it by the roll. I used to buy a metre or a couple of metres here or there, but in the end I decided I was probably paying over the odds by buying just a couple of metres. So now I just buy a 50-metre roll, and that lasts me quite a while. But the good thing about having a big roll of abrasive, you're not skimping on trying to make it last when you shouldn't be. You just get a fresh piece when you need it and carry on. I might use a bit more because I've got it at my disposal like that, but I think really in terms of finish quality, that's really what you want to do, to get the best finish you can by not skimping on abrasive and using ones that aren't really sharp enough. So that's looking okay. I've gone to 320. I think I'll stop there. You could probably go finer if you want, but for me I think that's fine enough for this particular project. Now on the inside you could do all sorts of things with finishes. I'm going to keep it simple. I've got some liquid cellulose sanding sealer. Now this, I've got mine in a jar here, coffee jar with the brush in the top. It dries very quickly. I'm just giving it a quick shake to make sure it's sort of all mixed up. The reason for the brush in the jar like this is because it's a fast drying finish. You'd be forever dealing with brushes that have gone hard, but leaving the brush in the finish, you don't have to worry about that. So I'm just coating the inside. This is cellulose sanding sealer and it's thinned a little bit with cellulose thinners. And it's a great sort of base for wax polishes, things like that, which is what I think I'll use on this. I'll just sanding sealer and wax. So give that a coat. I'll do the same on the outside, sort of the top section. It is a fairly fast drying sort of substance, the cellulose sanding sealer, so give that 60 seconds and it's probably dry. And then when that's dry, you can either use 4/0 wire wool, or if you're using a wood that doesn't really go well with wire wool, I use these nylon abrasives, Nyweb or Webbax or whatever you call it. I've got a medium and a fine there. I do use coarse one occasionally, but not usually for cutting back sanding sealer. That's almost dry. Give it another 30 seconds and I think I'll be there. if you're really impatient, you can run that, put a bit of kitchen tissue in there and burnish it dry. The outside's actually dry already, so I'll just do the outside bit. The inside, yeah, I think it needs a few more seconds. I'm just burnishing that with my fingers, so that's good to go. 4 zeros wildwood in there, cutting that sanding sealer back. As a fast dry and finish, it doesn't level itself out. You leave brush marks in it, etc. So you want to cut back through any brush marks you might have left and back to the surface of the wood, really. So that's done with the sanding sealer. Put some wax on it. My wax of choice is Renaissance wax, which is microcrystalline. This stuff comes in a little jar, and I prefer that to any of the beeswax based polishes. I've just got a little bit of wire wool caught on the ridge there. There's obviously little bits to catch the wool, or even this, in this case, the nylon applicator I'm using. I'm not going to put wax on the outside yet. I'll do all of that in one go when I finish the outside. So buff that, flip the cloth, buff it again. I find that second buffing usually puts a bit more shine into it. The first time you take off the surplus wax and it buffs it a bit, and then you hit it with another bit of cloth or a separate part and buff the surface there to clean it. I'll turn the extractor off now, and we can also turn the lathe off for a moment. So that's the surface on the inside. You see that's taken a reasonable shine. So what I want to do now is to reverse chuck this. Now, various ways of doing it. I could put that back over some jaws and expand them into it, not this one, but bigger. One of my preferred ways of doing reverse chucking on pieces like this is to use, let me find one here, a piece of wood like this, just a mandrel shaped on the surface to match the bowl, or slightly tighter curved than the bowl, and a spigot on the back. Now this was the bottom of something else that I parted off, so this was a piece of scrap. But I keep a load of these, so when I need one I can make it. Now that, you can see it's too big for this bowl, the bowl doesn't go over it. So I need to find a smaller one, but I have got a bag with a load of different ones in. So I'll have a quick rummage and see if I can find one that does fit. I did keep a couple out and put them to one side. I forgot where I put them there. Where did they go? Oh yeah, I can see them. Right. So I've got a few smaller ones here. Smaller curves. There's this one. This is a bit of ash. Again, just slightly too big. And that one doesn't actually have a spigot. It was off a screw chuck, but I could make a spigot. This one, this is a bit of cedar, I think. That's about right. I can actually get that one in. You can see there it's dropped pretty much all the way in. So that's almost perfect. So I think I'll go with that one. I have got a couple of smaller ones here, but I think, as I say, that cedar one looks about the right size, so I'll go with that. Now I just need to switch jaws because the spigot on my mandrel is cut for a bigger set of jaws, so I'll just put the right set of jaws in. It's actually the first one I used will do it, so I'll go back to that. These are 45mm jaws, or they should be, but they're designed for smaller chucks, so you can actually expand them a bit wider than you should really. I've got quite a big gap there, which is not what I normally do, but just for the mandrel, it's doable. I wouldn't hold a bowl like that. You're losing half the grip. But here we're just using it under compression. So bring my center back. Now to protect the surface that I've just polished, I want to put something over that. So what my normal pad there is, I've got a piece of non-slip router mat, that goes over the mandrel, and then a piece of kitchen towel, just paper kitchen towel over that. So I make a pad out of the two, over the mandrel, put the bowl over that, and that sort of holds it in place almost. And then I've just got to try and find my center mark. I'm not quite on it, it's just off slightly, but hopefully if I can jiggle that, get close enough. So I'm just playing with positioning here. I've got it right at the bottom and it's out at the top. I think what my trouble here is that the pad is just a bit too thick and it's pulling it out of its true position. Let me just try and get that. Yeah, sometimes the pad pulls to one side and it just throws the whole thing off. So I'm just trying to true that up again. It's nearly there. I'm trying to get it fairly close. If I was just taking the spigot off, it wouldn't matter quite so much, but what I want to do is to reshape the bottom of the bowl. To do that, I need to be just that little bit more accurate. I think that's as close as I'm going to get. So we'll go with that. And if there's a little bit of a ridge where I blend the two in, I'll have to just work with it. Right, so back to spindle gauge now. Might be better to swap them around that way. You see there's a little bit of a wobble there on the surface of the bowl, but hopefully we can manage that. So where I've got that little step, I think I will try and get that slightly closer, otherwise because I've got it's fairly thin at the bottom, I think I'm running the risk of going through if I don't get that better centered. A little bit. I'm concentrating on the surface of the bowl rather than the foot now, just to get the edge of the bowl running true, but not working yet.
No worries, take your time. It's too pretty to mess up. You got this far so far.
It's getting worse, not better, this. Right, just a little. Get to where I think it's right, and then it disappears. Going farther off the mark. I think that is probably as good as it gets. Right, we'll go with that. We'll sand it from there. So I'll cut that curve in and then turn some of the spigot away into a foot. And then shorten that. Now I obviously can't cut all of that away because of the centre. So I'll take it down to about a ½ inch So rather than turn all of the spigot away, I've reshaped that to become the foot. Now because that wasn't quite, I've just gone through there. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of doing. So yeah, it's just gone through where it's gone really thin. But I'll finish it anyway, and we'll carry on as if we were going to finish it. There's a slight edge there. So that's sort of taken the foot down closer. Yeah, it was a bit thin at that point, so I've overshot slightly, but never mind. So where that little step is, I can bring in abrasive and blend it. And sand the bottom half, but I didn't get, well, it was the other way round on the, holding the chuck on the spigot. So sand the bottom half at 180, see if I've managed to blend that. So I've blended in the edge there, so that's worked okay. And then we'll go down through the grits again. 240 next. On 320. And get rid of the dust. Bit of sand and seed on the outside. Yeah, that side has just gone a little bit too thin, so it's just gone through there, but never mind. Give that a minute to dry. Nearly there. Should do it. Cut that back with the wire wool. And then a bit of wax. This is what they chestnut safety cloth, which is paper, so it tears rather than pulls through. It's not a woven cloth; it's just paper. There's a thicker version of a piece of tissue. It's a bit softer, I think, because it's thicker. And I'll use it over and over again. And when it's fully impregnated with wax, I'll fold it another way and use it some more. And then when that's impregnated with wax, eventually I'll throw it away and get another piece. But I do use it many times before throwing it away, actually. So that's buffed the outside, so we've got a decent sort of finish there. While it's there, I'll just do a zoom in on that again, so you can get a closer view on that. Just try and tweak the focus. Oh, I'm too far. Oh, there it is. So that's what the surface looks like close up. It's not quite like wood. It's almost, you know, like the cheap chipboard you get for construction. It's almost a bit like that, but on a finer scale. So you've got strands going in all sorts of directions. So it hasn't grown like wood with a a grain direction, so to speak. It's a bit more random, but I quite like that. I think it's quite interesting. But yeah, definitely gone a bit too thin on that one. Right, so to finish that last little stub off at the bottom, my next sort of secret weapon is this. It's a sanding arbor, and again, it was made from one of those offcuts. So I've got a spigot on already, and I've just drilled a hole in it and put a Velcro sanding arbor in there. And if I start off with a piece of 80 grit, which is what I've got on there, that will cut that back pretty quick. Get the dust hood in place. So you can see there I've got a short 1/2 inch diameter spigot there to get rid of. So on this I can turn the lathe up to the full speed it's on, which is 1800 RPM. And I'm just angling that back a bit so I can see what I'm doing. I'm sanding near the edge of the pad because it's moving faster there. And also if I'm sanding near the edge of the pad, I know the pad isn't sanding away somewhere else where I don't want it to. I'm controlling where I'm sanding because I'm near the edge. So pretty quickly that stub is gone. Oh, that's gone through the bottom as well. There wasn't a lot left at the bottom either. But had that succeeded, I could go down to a 120 grit pad now and refine that. I should have left a bit more of that foot in place. But yeah, I can go down to 120 grit. Oop. One's didn't want to hold on. I think my Velcro is probably wearing out on this one. Let's try it again. Yeah, it's starting to slip, that one. I've got a couple of these. When I'm teaching, I've got more than one, so they can put them on a couple of lathes or 2 or 3. I've got 3, in fact. So they can put them on 3 different lathes all at once. That's better. And then sand at 120, and if I want sand at 180, etc., I can go down through the grits, smooth that off. I'm not going to polish the bottom of that. I've got, as you can see, there's a hole in the bottom now because I've just gone through it with the sanding process. But hopefully I'll switch over to a camera over here. Just turn the extractor off. So I'll switch to this one and we'll put it up here. So that's what it's supposed to look like, minus the hole. But yeah, there's a little bit on the side where it's gone through, and you see it's gone through on the bottom as well. I've just gone too thin. As I said at the start, your constraint is the amount of material that's there, and I've just taken off a little bit too much. But with a little bit more care, I could have just taken less off. But in terms of how it turned, it's turned like a fairly dense wood, a fairly hard wood. Cut okay with the gouges. It did take the tip off my gouge sort of moderately quickly, so harder than some woods, definitely, but certainly not the worst thing I've ever turned. But I quite like the effect of the patterning on the surface, and
oh yeah, fabulous grain.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's something different. Yeah. I mean, you could even try and colour it. I've never tried it myself, but yeah, it did occur to me that might take colour nicely, so I might give that a try sometime. But
right. That's what was running through my head, was dyeing it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to sort of experiment with that, I think, and see what can be done.
That's what I was waiting for, to see what kind of finish he would put on it.
Right.
Yeah, sanding, sealer, and wax is all I've used on that.
Yeah.
It's got a reason. I mean, I don't normally go for high gloss. That's got the sort of the level of sheen I would go for, and sanding, sealer, wax is about there. Where I do use high gloss is when I put colours on, and you want depth of colour there, and the high gloss surface gives the colour more depth. So that's where I might use a sort of a lacquer and burnish that to a sort of almost a glass finish. But on this, sanding, sealing, wax is quite quick and gives me the sort of level of shine I want. So, but yeah, that's sort of start and finish.
Yeah, start and finish.
Those.
Wow.
Something
Yeah,
else
looks
to
great. I'm
have a go at.
gonna have to find me some, and I think those are very interesting.
Actually, Paul,
Very interesting.
how much does it cost you to buy that from Germany?
Sorry, can you say it again?
I said, actually, how much does it cost you to buy that from Germany?
They worked out each round about £3 to £4, so that's probably about $6, I would say.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean, I bought 20. I thought I'm not going to pay shipping from Germany and buy two. So I bought
Right.
20, and it worked out not a lot per unit, sort of shipping wise. And I think, yeah, for that, including shipping, it was, yeah, as I say, probably three, somewhere between £3 and £4 each. I think they're £3 each, and then you pay the shipping on top. So $5 plus, let's say, 50 cents to $1 shipping or something like that. But yeah, I mean, if you can find them your side of the pond, you might find that because they haven't traveled quite so far, they might actually be cheaper.
Right. Didn't go from South America to Europe to
Exactly.
back
Yeah.
to-
Yeah.
right. So
Your shop has to smell great right now. That's all I've been thinking about.
Yeah. I mean, I
Oh,
can't
I've
smell the
been
wood,
thinking
but
about
you certainly smell the finishes. Yeah, the polish. Yeah, the wax and
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
Paul, could you explain what cellulose sanding sealer is for those that are unfamiliar with that product?
Smells good.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
Could you explain cellulose sanding sealer?
Okay. Yeah.
For those over here that's not familiar with it.
Yeah, you can get really 3 different flavors of sanding sealer. One is what they call a spirit sanding sealer, which is shellac based and what we call methylated spirits. I think you just call it denatured alcohol, don't you?
Right.
That's what you get in spirit based sanding sealer. It's quite slow to dry, but it does give you a reasonably good result. You just got to be a bit more patient. Me being the impatient type, I go for the cellulose based sanding sealer. Again, it's the Chestnut or Fiddies or 1 or 2 other brands do it. And I dilute it a bit. It's quite thick as it comes out of the pot, so I dilute it a bit, sort of maybe 1/3 thin as 2/3 sanding sealer, just so it flows better, and it also soaks into the wood better, I think. So I thin it a bit for that reason. But yeah, you put that straight onto the bare wood as your base, let that dry, cut it back, flatten it basically, and then wax polish on the top. And it's a very good base for the wax polish because if you put wax straight onto the wood, it sort of soaks into the wood and you don't get much of a build on the surface. It's a lower key finish. It's less of a shine. Putting the sanding sealer on first, you're creating a buffer, and the wax is sitting on the surface and creating more of a shine. So that's the reason I use it, and in that combination. You can also get an acrylic sanding sealer, and where I'm playing with acrylic paints and doing colouring, then if I'm going to use a sanding sealer on something that's got other parts that are acrylic paints, etc., colours, then I'll use an acrylic sanding sealer on those. Now all of these sanding sealers, you could buy them in a tin in liquid form, or you could buy them in a spray can. So you can put it on either way. The spray cans are more expensive, basically. You're going to get through more of those for the same surface coverage. Buying it in a pint sort of tin or thereabouts, it's going to be cheaper, and you'll get a lot more mileage out of one of those for the same amount of money. Okay.
Great.
Any other
Derek.
questions?
Thank you.
Yes, there was another question on. Thank y'all. Just got a pizza brought to me, homemade. There was a question. There was a question on your life center with it being with the point being removed and or being ground off, and why you chose that method.
Let me take that one out of the lathe. I'll show you what I've done. I'll try and do it so you can see what's happening. What I'm using there, it's a multi-tip center. It's an Axminster, again, an Axminster one, multi-tip center, and it comes with several different centers. You get point centers, cup centers, and the ring center. Now this one here is a standard ring center. You see it's still got the point in it. I'll put it over there against the white background, you probably see it better. So that's got the point still there. This one, it was one of those, but as you can see in the middle, I've ground the point back. So it's pretty much flat and below the surface of the ring now. So when I put that against the wood, the ring makes contact, but not the point. So I'm just limiting even more the amount of penetration there by grinding the point away. So that's all I'm trying to achieve, is having to take less material away when I clean up the bottom. So that's my objective. On a normal bowl where I've got plenty of wood to play with, I would use a standard, usually a ring center still, because I quite like ring centers. But I would use a standard one with a point and allow enough wood to make sure I turn that away when I finish the bottom. With this one, I knew I was playing with sort of not that much material, less than I thought, as it turned out. And because of that, I was trying to minimize what I needed to take off the bottom. Now, the bit at the bottom, I could have probably turned a bit less away and not gone through, but the bit on the side is too late anyway. But
Yeah, no worries.
but yeah, that's what I was trying to achieve with that center, with the reduced point or with the moved point. The ring is still going to hold it, and if while I've got that piece mounted initially in the chuck, I press the ring into the surface, it just leaves a very faint impression. Well, it certainly did in this because it's quite a hard material. So it just leaves an impression of the ring, so I can use that for recentering, and hopefully that will get it realigned. I mean, with this one, I think because of the packing and the padding I was using on the inside, I think that was my problem, not the fact that I didn't recenter it on the ring, because I did realign it on the mark that was there, but it just didn't run true because of the packing I think I got behind it. So that's just the way it is.
Okay. Well, hopefully that answers the questions that were being thrown around in the chat about it. So,
Okay, any other questions?
folks, anybody else got any other questions?
No, nothing to say, but you know what? It was a very enjoyable evening.
Thank you.
Thought it
It
was.
was an excellent demo. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you, Paul.
That it is. And
A couple of things to show you as well. We'll kick off the gallery.
there we go.
The bits I didn't show you earlier. So I've been experimenting lately. I put some of these on Facebook a few days ago. I've been doing a bit of metal spinning, so I've been making copper bowls. There's that one there. This one, which is similar but slightly bigger. This one was actually on a larger form, but I've cut it down. This one is the one in my left hand, which is probably going to appear on the right, is a smaller former than this one. This one, when it's full height, is bigger. But it's, as I say, I've cut it down so it's a little bit smaller. But I've done those two, and then there's that one, which is more of a straight-sided bowl. And the purpose of these, my wife does enameling, and she enamels copper bowls. So if you go and find my website, there's a link to Jeanette's website, and you can go and see what she does with these. But she covers them in coloured enamels, and there's all sorts of patterns and designs on them, and they are quite popular. So, but she's always wanted more copper bowls. So her previous supplier is gone. The person that was doing it has retired and wasn't sort of replaced, and they're becoming more difficult to get hold of. So I said, oh, I'll have a go at that. So I started spinning. I've got myself a spinning rest, and I've made 6 different formers for 6 different shapes of bowls as my initial sort of go at this. And I've tried a few of them. Some with more success than others. I've had a few failures, but I think I'm gradually figuring out why and improving, and hopefully I'll get to a point where I can do all 6, and then she'll be happy. But at least I've got 3 out of the 6 sort of working. The 3 I'm still working on are the bigger ones, so I've got to keep plugging away and trying to get those. But getting there. So that's that's one thing I've been playing with. I've got some spinning tools. As I say, a spinning rest, some spinning tools, and bought some copper disc. We bought a couple of sheets of copper and had it cut into disc on a somebody laser cut it for us. The easiest way to do it, really. So
Does she do both sides? Does she do both sides of that, or inside? Or?
you just start off with a flat sheet and spin it over the former, and it takes the shape of the former. You don't do anything else with it, really. I mean, the outside on this one, I've sort of burnished it. There's a tool that's a bit of, I think they call it a planisher, because it's like planishing, and you're flattening out the surface, so it gives it a much smoother surface. The inside is really left as was, but that one, I've made an ash former, and it sort of picked up the grain of the ash on the surface, so it's got a little bit of a wood texture to it. The others haven't done that. These two, they haven't done it. That was just the original surface of the copper, really, on the inside. The outside's a little bit shinier because I've used that planishing tool, but the inside is just as it was. It's slightly sort of coarser finish, but for enameling, it's good enough. It doesn't need to be mirror finish. You want a bit of a key on it. So the ones that are smooth, I think Jeanette's probably going to rough those up anyway. So so it keys better.
Will she do the inside and outside, or just the inside?
She enamels both sides. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've misunderstood the question, I think.
No.
Yeah,
I thought he had SWAT. A guy did. He did a lid. He dimpled it. He did it with a ball peen hammer.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting. I thought of you, but we'll talk some other time.
Yeah. But the copper I'm using is sold as soft copper and they sell it to the metal spinners because it's soft. It's already annealed, basically. It's soft and malleable. There are other coppers they sell. I mean, Jeanette also does flat copper enameling on makes pictures basically out of one or more panels. And for that, she uses the copper she buys for that. The chap that sells that, he said, you don't want that for spinning. It's too hard. It's what they call half hard. So it's a rolled sheet, and I think in the rolling process, it actually work hardens the copper. So that's too hard to spin. I'll say it's too hard to spin. I have actually spun some of it, but just a shallow curve, like a candle dish or something like that. I wouldn't want to try and make one of these bowls out of it. A, it's thicker, and B, it's a harder copper, so it's a lot harder to spin. Whereas this, it's a little bit thinner, and it started off as soft copper. It does harden as you spin it, but hopefully you'll get to the end of the bowl before it gets too hard to work it. But that's So anyway, when I've done more with the other shapes, I'll come back and show you the other ones. But on top of that, I've also made a bowl this week. This one, it started off life as a piece of beech that was a part turn bowl that someone else gave me, and I was turning it, and there was a crack near the middle. And I thought, what can I do with that? I don't want the crack to be visible, so I've done a bit of a sort of a Nick Agar homage bowl here, and it's a sort of along the lines of his Viking bowls, but not quite the same. I've not textured the outside in the way he does or did those. I've done some spiral textures in the center and done a black with a bronze paint over the top of that. I've done airbrushed blue and green on the inside, and then a spiral pattern on the edge, and again black and bronze to color that. And on the outside, something similar. Where the crack was on the outside, it was sort of coming across here somewhere. Again, filled it, and then done a spiral, and then black and bronze over that as well, and then polished the rest of the wood.
Very nice.
That's just got lacquer on it. So
that
that's
looks great.
Pretty gorgeous.
Acrylic lacquer to go over the acrylic paints as well. So that's lacquered inside and out.
Beautiful.
Wow. Fantastic, Paul.
Okay.
All right. So with that, if nobody else has got any questions for Paul, we will move on to our next gallery item. Jeff, you are up next. Thank you again, Paul.
That's okay.
Okay.
Hey, Jeff.
Hello, everybody. If you follow my Facebook, follow me on my Facebook, you'll know that I've done my Shelby Art Fair. And you also know that I was one of 8 booths that was broken into and had about $460 worth of pens stolen. So I'm in the mode of replacing those pens. So that's what I've been doing. This week I made this one European, and this is from Koa from Hawaii.
Nice.
And then another European, this is with Purple Heart. I had
Oh,
found
yeah.
a piece of Purple Heart laying on my scrap shelf. I love scrap shelves. So this is, if you get from Penn State, it's called a Gatsby. From Woodcraft, they're called Wall Street Twist. This is a piece of Chinese elm. It's that same wood that I used in that Peruvian walnut and elm vase I did about a month or so ago. So there's a piece of scrap laying around. This is the Wall Street Click, and this is a piece of acrylic that I found in the bottom of a bucket, and it just went in perfect with the gold. So I was quite pleased with that.
Very sharp, Jeff.
And then I was
Good job.
cleaning the shop, and one of the nice things about cleaning the shop is you find things you didn't know you had. I found a ton of pen kits and stuff that I didn't know I had, which came in handy considering that I got broken into. So one of the things that I found was, you all know what seam rippers are. They also make these kits that have, they're called stilettos, or little points on it. Well, this is actually needle threaders. I don't know if you can see the little spider hair there. And the other side is an even thinner one.
Oh, wow.
And I made this for my wife.
Oh,
Oh, I
okay.
can see it on the carton there. There we go. So I made that for my wife. This is a piece of acrylic I had laying around for a long time. It's gorgeous piece of acrylic. It was the most horrible thing I've ever turned. It was just powdery and like turning a hardened styrofoam. So I had to do very light cuts. Took me a long time because of it. But it came out beautiful. And that's what I've been doing this week.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's go to Mr. Al. We got you, Al.
How's everybody? Hope everybody had a good night.
Good.
Hello,
Hey,
Al.
Al. How you doing?
I didn't do any turning this week. I've got a lot of crap going on around here. I did finally finish
Okay.
Bandsaw box.
bandsaw box.
Yeah.
I had it made for a while. I finally got it sanded and I finally got a finish on it. Now there's someone on here tonight that he's new. This is his first night. This is my very first lidded box that I ever made, and I made a couple of pens when I first started, and I found a place that's called Woodcraft, and here on the counter it said, "Learn how to make a lidded box," and there was a course that I could take, and there's a gentleman on here tonight. His name is Dave Robinson. Dave, would you like to say hi? This is his first night tonight.
There he is. Hey, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
You got him?
Take your.
He's
Hello.
muted. Oh, there he is.
Dave, this is the first of all, say hi, man, because
Hello.
this guy
Welcome.
here, him and his wife are so generous. He goes and he demonstrates and he teaches people how to make a lidded box. He loves making lidded boxes at Woodcraft. And if you're interested, he has, when I was there 8 years ago, he is my teacher. That's why I forgot to say, Dave is my teacher. He's my mentor. And he has a thing that's called TNT, Thursday Night Turn. And he has, Dave, I don't know how many lathes you have down in your basement right now. When I first met you, there were 14.
Well, I think there's
No.
only 11 now.
Only 11 now?
Yeah, 4
Um,
of them have moved
he-
out to my other shop.
Dave, I just want to thank you so much. And I'm so happy that you popped in tonight.
Indeed.
Did you have fun?
Yeah,
There's
yeah, very
there's
good.
Dane.
And actually, I brought a larger lidded box.
Oh, nice. Let me throw you on the spotlight,
Please
Dave.
show it. Yeah, you're on.
Oh, hold on a minute.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, nice.
There you go, man.
Hey, that looks
What
nice.
kind of wood is that?
That's poplar. And
Wow.
Nice.
this is the way that
That's a
I
gorgeous
finished
piece of
on the
poplar.
top. And then this will go on there and just glue into place. And then I haven't finished it yet, but the mentor that trained me always liked to do threaded chased threads, and so this will turn on.
Wow.
That's something that I learned from Mike Mahoney to do thread chasing. He was telling us that in some of the old world places, you take these long apprenticeships and stuff, and he said, you don't need to do that. All you got to do is go like this. And he showed us in about 10 or 15 minutes. And you know what? He was right. Hand thread chasing is not that hard. And so we train on things like that on our Thursday night turning. And
Nice.
the reason I
Cool.
had this with me today is that I got a phone call this morning from somebody saying that they needed an urn. So this is one that it's not totally finished. There's no finish on it, and I need to finish the spinel as well. But so I had it with me, so I thought I'd show you. It's a larger lidded box, you might say.
You might say, yeah.
What kind of finish are you gonna put on it?
The finish that I put on is always the same, and it's I use a finish called TY. It's an oil like walnut oil, and then I'm with our demonstrator. I like Renaissance wax to buff it on with a Beal buff. I Beal buff Renaissance wax as the final coat. And
Very good.
I've got some products that I did that about 10 or 12 years ago, and they're still shiny. It's not dried out, and the great thing about this is I finish turning, I sand it, I put the TY on, and I go to the Beal buff station, 1, 2, 3, and then Renaissance wax, and it's done. Like 5 minutes after I finished turning, it's done. I'm not a real patient guy. I don't like waiting and especially coming back tomorrow and putting more finish on. So that finish has served me well, and it's fast, it's easy, and it ain't broke, so I'm not fixing it.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing
Nice
wrong with
job.
that at all. Well, welcome to the group. Hope you enjoyed what you've seen so far, and we hope to have you back in future sessions. We do this every week, 1800 CDT. I always
Yeah.
start the meeting 30 to 45 minutes early so we can sit on the tailgate, get to know each other, and also keep open an after-hours session after the primary meeting. So welcome to the group, Dave.
Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you what, I took a little break in between to call up my mentor. He's the one that actually, he sold Al
I have his lathe.
his lathe, and he is now in
Yep.
a care facility in Golden, Colorado, and he's 95, and he is just itching to get turning again. He's negotiating with the people there to see if he can get a garage and put a little lathe in there. So he's still turning at 95. So anyway, he's my hero.
Outstanding. That's great.
Very good.
That's great.
Dave, you have started so many people on this hobby. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You know, it's a virus. It's addicting. And,
It is.
you know,
Totally addicting.
it's an addiction, and we have support groups for it, for the addiction.
What we try to do. That's what we try to do every week.
Yeah,
This is one of them. Yep.
Then we're going to have our big get together next September. For some, hands-on, supporting of each other. So.
Yep, that'll be good.
All right.
It's nice
Well,
to meet you,
with that,
Dave.
Al, great pieces as always. And Dave, look forward to seeing you next week. And thanks for sharing tonight, not being bashful. And so with that, let's go to Mr. Brett.
Happy to be here.
Buffalo, Wyoming. Brett, ready? Here we go.
Was I
We
on the
got you.
list? I had nothing to show.
I got a Brent on here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe it was a different Brent. Moving on, we'll go to Bruce. No, we'll go to Dewey. I think Bruce already popped off. There he is.
Dewey.
Oh boy. All right. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I had started a coffee pot out of cedar. Well, I got it finished finally.
Oh boy.
Oh
Look at that.
my
Oh my God.
That is gorgeous.
Killing it. Just killing it.
He is a killer. Look at that. It's
Oh my
amazing.
goodness, Dewey.
And
Flip top.
and the black. This was ultraviolet activated resin. I finally got it to work. What it is, the black is the ink that I put on the base, and then I just put clear
Yep.
on that, and it just solid up in about 4 minutes.
Wow.
The rest of it is just regular good old clear, regular 2-part. So
Oh,
Embellishment.
that's cedar. The cedar looks real good. I like the way the cedar turned out. If you look, I'm going to switch cameras here on you. Hold on a second, if you don't mind. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries, Dewey.
Whoop, I turned myself off. Sorry about that.
No, that's all good. As long as you get it back on.
Well, here in just a second. Here we go. There we go. All right. If you notice the color, I don't know if you can see it very well, but here we go.
There we go.
See how the colors,
Wow.
My
Yeah.
God.
That's amazing.
It's like a purple, I see.
Wow.
Well, the camera kind of makes it look, adds blue to it. But anyway, I really like the way the wood mixed with I put a coat of dark resin on first, and then I sanded it off, and then put a clear coat on it, and it really turned out I really like the way it turned out so far as the color is.
Beautiful.
Yep. Yeah, I love how you do those
But
oyster pots.
Day September 24th, I'm going to show everybody how I did this.
Outstanding.
wow.
What did you use?
Outstanding.
From
Dude,
blank,
that's so pretty.
from
That's so
blank
pretty.
to this. Okay, so
Now,
Anyway.
where did you hollow it out at? From the bottom, or is that two pieces?
Yeah, I hollowed it. I didn't hollow it a lot. I hollowed it from the bottom, and then of course I drilled the top, and I put a fake. This is fake.
You're out of the camera.
Out, and you see, here we go. There's a fake hole right here, but I'll show on the demonstration how you do the whole thing. So you put
Dewey, do you tenon the handle on or put a dowel in there to hold it?
Well, I had a hinge here. I made a hinge and I broke it. So I got to redo my hinge. But it's got for so far as this is concerned, this handle I stuck on with contact cement.
Wow.
And then of course the epoxy that went around it made it stay real good. This, if you'll look, I got a little pin here.
Yep.
I didn't mean for that pin to stay in there, but I couldn't pull it out once I glued this on. So it's in there for good. And so I'm going to have to go back and look at some videos from our other club members on how they stuck that on with pins.
So you just glued the handle on and also the sprout?
Yeah. Well, what it was, I had a pattern and I sawed it out. This is, I don't know what it is, 7/8 cedar. And I sawed it out on the bandsaw, the pattern, and sanded it all down and got it to where it would match up with the top and the bottom. And then I just used good old contact cement here and there, stuck it on such that it stayed on long enough such that when I put the epoxy on it, it made it real tight, real on there real well. But this is just 5-minute epoxy here with this pin. So, and so anyway, I got to fix I got to go back and redo my hinge.
Yeah, that was my favorite part of those things was that hinge. That was just awesome.
Well, what I'm gonna do is, this is cedar, and I made it out of cedar to try to make it match. But what I'm gonna have to do is take and use a carving tool and carve it off and put on something that's much more durable, that won't break. Because this is a 16th inch wire going through here. And
you push it towards push the vessel towards your mouse. No, towards your mouse. There we go. Now we can see it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now carry on talking.
Yeah. And so anyway, it's two parts, and I'll show you how I made it, but I wish I could made it out of something else that was tougher. So
you had it as a wood hinge with the brass pin going through it?
Yeah, what it is
okay.
What this pin is, it's it's electric fence wire.
Okay.
But it works. Whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And you drill a 16th inch hole. What I did was I made the pieces separately and had a pattern, and I drilled the holes in them, and then if you'll notice, I don't know if you can notice with it broke, but there's a little tongue that come out of here, a little tongue, and then on this part, there was a gap with two.
Right.
So that's how I did it. Anyway, I'll show how I did it whenever we do the demo.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a great idea. Great idea. That really, Dewey, really.
Yes.
My goodness.
Show how to make the patterns for this, and so. But anyway, there it is.
Yeah, stay tuned for the demo on September 24th.
It may, Dane, we may have to break it up because it's quite a long process to do this thing. So we may have to break it up.
We can always just start the demo earlier and not have to worry about gallery.
Yeah. Well, right now it's 3 hours long. So
yeah. Well,
We're
we'll
gonna
just
break
make
it
that
up.
the whole. We can make that the whole program.
Okay.
Sounds
No
good to me.
worries.
Anyway,
No
thanks.
worries.
Appreciate your time.
Awesome work. Thank you, Dewey.
Thank you, Dewey.
All right,
Amazing.
Roger, you get to follow this up.
Yeah, that's hard to follow.
Yes.
Okay.
That looks
Wow.
good.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it's a pretty walnut. I saw that online.
Dang.
And
Some grain.
I was told that it could be hackberry, which I've never turned hackberry before.
I don't think that's hackberry. That's something different. Hackberry doesn't have that real wide looking.
Yeah. I just thought it was a
It
heavily
looks like
salted
walnut to
maple.
me.
Yeah, I would say that looks like turned
Maple?
walnut. That's looked like that too. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking is walnut.
Although I've never seen
Hey.
walnut with that kind of grain, it might be something like Texas ebony.
That kind of reminds me of persimmon, but persimmon doesn't get that big.
Well,
And
this,
neither does Texas
this
ebony.
is the same stuff that I use.
The same coloring in my Texas persimmon, but it don't mind. Yeah.
This was all from the same tree.
It don't look like walnut, no.
No, that ain't. Yeah.
It don't look like walnut. No. Mm-mm.
And
Unless it's English walnut.
Is it, Roger,
Yeah.
how hard and dense is it?
it's very, very soft. Punky.
Okay, it's not
Soft.
persimmon.
No.
Nope.
And here's
Yeah. No, I don't. No,
Beautiful.
this has got a lot of sapwood in it.
It looks like it's spalted.
Yeah.
it's spalted,
Doesn't look
that's
like
for sure.
normal
That
English
definitely looks
walnut.
like spalt.
I mean, there was spores growing on the edge of the pieces.
And it could be English walnut, like Ruby says. I don't know.
I'm
kind of inclined
to think Yeah.
hackberry. I've had some that looks like that, really. It can get that dark. If it's trapped where it gets a lot of moisture, I've seen it get real black. And those other pieces that he showed up looked a lot like spalted hackberry to me.
Does it smell like walnut when you cut it?
Yeah, it doesn't smell like walnut. I don't believe it's walnut. I don't think it's walnut. I think it maybe a soft maple that's heavily spalted. I don't know.
Huh.
I think
Yeah.
you
Like I
said
say,
at
I've never
first it
turned
could be
hackberry, so I
hackberry.
don't know. There's supposedly a lot of hackberry around here.
One thing I'll tell
No,
you
that
about
doesn't look
hackberry,
like
if it lays
hackberry at
out,
all.
if it lays out, it will get black lines through it. And then if you leave it for a little longer, it will turn black like that.
Huh.
But hackberry's got real long, straight grain. It's really good for bending,
Yeah.
and it's really white colored. It's white like sycamore.
Yeah, but it
Okay.
will turn black when it spalts.
Yes, it will.
And the other thing is, if it is hackberry and you fill that bowl up with water, it'll leak out all over your counter, just like red oak.
Right. Yep.
It don't vacuum chuck very well either.
Oh, I wonder
Well,
why.
I mean, as punky as this is, I wouldn't want to vacuum chuck it anyway.
Right.
So
No matter what, it's pretty.
it is
Yeah,
pretty.
it is. Yeah, it sure is. It's unique.
That's a gorgeous piece.
Yeah, looks like a pterodactyl trying to come out of its egg. Did I drink another beer and see what else I see?
Like I say, I've got the other half of this piece, and this is the first time I put a screw chuck on it to start it, and the screw chuck broke out.
Yeah.
The wood just disintegrated in it.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
Anyway,
Very
that's
nice.
what I had to show this week.
Looks great, Roger. All
Nice.
right, let's go see what Mr. Todd's got. Hey, Todd.
Hello. So a few weeks ago, right after my brother had passed, I showed everybody the bowl that he had on his lathe, and so it was still in a chuck, and he had been working on trying to learn your tongue oil finish, Dane, and he had messed with this bowl until he got tired of it, and then put a tenon in the bottom and cored it out, and so but he hadn't really finished it or anything on the inside or anything. So I hit it with a little bit of sandpaper and then put it in some cold jaws and turned the bottom off of it and
right on.
And then
right on.
I don't know. I engraved on the bottom of it his info for him. Boy, you can see how the tongue oil was a lot darker. I guess out there it darkened up a little bit, and the one or two coats I put on there the other day is really, really light comparatively. I might put a couple more coats on it, but this will go to his daughter and
it's a nice tribute, Todd.
Nice
job.
Very nice, Todd.
Yeah, thank you. As his last bowl. I haven't been out in the shop for a long time. I did that on like Monday or Tuesday morning, and what's today, Wednesday? So yesterday I did this bowl.
Oh wow!
This is the first thing I've turned in a long time. It was a piece of maple, and had a lot of good figure in it, and so I threw a little Hampshire sheen color in it while I've still got some.
I love that color.
And
looks great.
And then
I started to say you put your Martin hat on with that one.
So I tried to. So it's got like 6 coats of lacquer on it, whatever I could do yesterday. I turned it yesterday morning, put the lacquer on it yesterday
I
afternoon.
see a ceiling fan in it.
And then you might, right? So
Yeah.
it's
see
still
the ceiling fan.
It still
And a
needs to be
lamp?
buffed out a little bit. I can see just a little bit of like orange peel up there around the top. And then this is the first bowl I went back after I took the bottom off of it, and I colored the bottom. I don't know if I like coloring the bottom of it or not, but I colored the bottom of that bowl. And so
You blended those colors so pretty. That's very pretty.
so that's just luck. I pretty much close my eyes and splat the stuff on there and then pick a different color.
Well, you did a good job of splashing.
Yeah. So
that's beautiful, my friend.
Hit it with the black first, sand all the black off. That's why you get the depth in there and everything. Yep. And then yeah. So
great job, Todd.
Yeah. Thank you. So maybe I'll engrave the bottom of it. I bought one of those Laser Pecker 1 Pro. Laser Pecker 1 Pro.
There you go.
And then I've turned a cylinder for that thing to go in so I can put it into the tailstock and engrave right on the lathe. And I bought it. It was reconditioned on eBay, and I went out there, and Laser Pecker had it listed. It was from them, and it said 169 or best offer. So I offered 150, and they came back a day later and said, well, how about 160? And so we settled at 155. So if you're wanting to buy a Laser Pecker 1 Pro, and I've had great luck with mine so far off of eBay for $100 less than what you can buy one new. So, and then I meant to bring the little container fart that goes into my tailstock to show, and I'll try to show it next week or something. But because there's a couple of lessons learned there about that, if somebody's considering doing that, so you can just slide it in the tailstock, and I'd like to tell people about that. So hopefully I can remember to bring that to my dad's house for next week. So.
All right, sounds good.
That would be a great article in the newsletter too.
Oh, now, okay, I can do that. It'll be smaller than what requires six parts.
Yeah, I was going to say
All you
do
need
it in Todd person, instead of AI person.
Yeah,
all you
right.
need is one of Jim's magical Morse 2 tapers.
Yep. So what I did was I embedded the little brass knurl thing that Carl Jacobson sells at Niles for the bottle stoppers, and then I just screw my bottle stopper mandrel into it and shove it into the tailstock.
That'll work too.
So that was easy. And then when I'm done using it, I just unscrew that and put it back where the bottle stopper stuff is that I don't use.
That's ingenious, man. Ingenious.
So yeah, that's me, the genius.
Very good.
And Dewey, I thought I heard you say that hinge was done with electric fence wire.
Yeah,
I'm shocked.
Thank you. Great one. I love that.
Oh, crap.
That's it.
How's it going?
That was
Fun in
very
every
punny.
crowd.
Very punny.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Where's the
thank you,
block
Todd.
button?
Once again, great bowls you did there. Very good.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's see. Sheila, you still here?
Yeah,
There she is.
I'm still here. I just have another cat.
Oh,
So
beautiful.
the enthusiasm. Mercy, my. Must be
He's
late
a-
up there.
He's a fat cat out of spouted birch. And he's got a
No.
Yeah, that cat deserves more enthusiasm than that. That's a
I know, right? You know how I
That's
like
a wonderful
cats.
cat.
I'm
The
not really
cats.
done with the finish. It's still kind of lumpy, so I gotta work on it some more.
He looks like he ate the canary.
I love
Right.
those ears.
Is you?
I wanted to get this part of the spouting on the front, but I didn't really want the big belly button. I
You
made
gonna
it
put a tail? You gonna put a tail on him, or is he
I
tailless?
don't know. I haven't put a tail on the other ones yet.
Okay, now
Um,
that belly button's on the wrong side of that cat, so you got to call it something else.
Hey, Gary, this
It makes it
cat's been
better.
getting epidurals.
Dirty bum than a belly button.
You can put a tail on it and cover that up.
Yeah, I could. Yeah. I'll think about it.
Shut up,
Yeah.
Billy.
Nice
Yeah.
job.
Tail above it.
Don't get me started.
job, Sheila. I got
a real
cat back here
snoring
in my ear. Beautiful.
Yeah. And he's hollow too with a little plug in the bottom.
Oh, wow.
I don't have anything to get that out right at the moment. And I stuffed it in on the way into the garage, and I don't think the finish is dry.
So you could use it as an
Oh.
urn then. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it can be a pet urn or whatever.
Yeah.
And my
She-
little
she
plug
tur-
can be flipped over and something
Yeah.
engraved on the other side.
Yeah.
She turned the cat and plugged its bottom.
Uh-huh. Cat sat and sand swam. That was that.
Uh,
All right, very cool, Sheila.
Thank
There
you.
it is. There it is. That's
All right.
very
getting
cool.
late. You guys are getting crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's go to Randy. He's got a safety item for us.
Why, some time ago, I was working on my table saw and the power switch went bad. I was doing a rip cut. I pushed the piece through, turned the saw off, reached over the blade, and the saw turned itself back on.
Oh my.
I had to quit for about a half an hour upstairs, but I couldn't replace the switch. The switch was not available. So what I got was this.
Yep.
This comes from Rockler. And amazingly enough, this cabinet exactly fits this switch. So all I had to do was take the front off of that switch, thread the wires through the bottom, and I had a perfectly replacement. And that gave me to think. And so I said, my lathe does not have an emergency off. And that's common for most small to medium sized lathes. They don't have an emergency switch. So I got 2 of them. And this is my emergency switch. This sits exactly below the headstock normally, where I will hit it with my knee if I really need to. And it's attached to the lathe with these 2 rare earth magnets. I put a nail plate on the, I have a stand, but it's made out of wood. So I have a nail plate attached to there, and it sticks right on there, and it's always there. But if I have to, I can move it anywhere I want. And it comes with the plug and the cord, so you can plug it right in. No wiring required.
Cool.
And so if you get into a trouble, put this wherever you can reach it quickly and smash the stop button.
Cool.
And that's my safety moment.
Nice idea.
Yeah, good stuff,
I've done
Randy.
the same thing with my saw and my lathe, and boy, they're lifesavers. It's a great idea.
Well, I did add an actual kill switch to the table saw. It's actually a second switch. It's just a toggle switch, but I can turn it off so that while I'm working on it, it's difficult to get to the place where I have to unplug it. So rather than unplugging it, I have this kill switch that's separate from the on-off switch that's on the saw.
Good idea.
Sounds like a useful tool.
Interesting.
It is. I'll post the information on the chat momentarily.
Thanks, Randy.
Good job.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Well, next up, we've got Mark Soleil. What you got, Mark?
Okay, let me get up off of this chair. Okay, let me turn the, I'm going to turn the camera around. And I had to do a few errands this week, so.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh,
Very
my
nice.
goodness.
And there's a little tea light candle. There's a small pattern. There's a big one. And of course, they're all threaded.
Of course. So, Mark, as an urn, is there a way to get a plastic bag full of ashes in there? I mean, the holes seem kind of small, but
No, you just pour them in put them in with a funnel.
gotcha. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah,
Very
but
nice.
And again, everything's just finished with one coat of Parfix 3408, and I do my ball-to-ball construction underneath, so that the wood looks like it's standing up. And that's somebody mentioned Texas ebony. That's a piece of Texas ebony. And
Beautiful.
that one's camphor. That one is, I think it's some old rosewood. And that one, I have no clue what it is. But anyway, that's what I've been doing this week. And of course, all I do is I finish all my African blackwood and my Gaboon ebony. I just use the EEE Ultra Shine on it, and it works good. And I get a nice high satin, and I like it. So those are a little bit bigger than the little tiny ones I do. So, but anyway,
They are.
That's about it for this old cripple here.
Thanks very much, Mark. Those are great.
All right.
Beautiful stuff, Mark.
All right.
Thank you. Next,
Absolutely beautiful.
next up is Ruby. What we got, Ruby?
Okay, sort of along the lines of what Paul showed. This is a threaded box that was made from a nut. I can't remember the type of nut, but the threads on top were hand chased. And to put the walnut base and the top to hold the nut together, this is threaded on.
Goodness.
So the nut itself is pretty cylindrical. So I just made this to hold the nut. And then this
That's a great
washer,
idea. Wow.
Oh my
is
God,
cool.
Ruby.
that washer just holds it in place as a solid unit. And the lid just screws on top.
Man, I wish we were neighbors.
That's great.
I wish we were neighbors. I swear.
So
Wow.
What's the TPI on that?
I think probably about 16.
16?
Ruby,
Okay.
can you hold that
Very
a little
nice.
closer to the camera where we can see the texture of the nut without it?
Yeah.
That's
Did you
really,
That's pretty cool.
that's really strange.
Love the texture.
Did you add
Yes.
to that or buff it or something? Or
No, the nut is just the way it comes by itself. All I
Oh,
did
nice.
was
Wow.
cut the top and the bottom off.
Wow.
Wow.
What
I
type
know a
of
lot
nut
of
is it?
nuts, but they're not textured like that. Anyway.
That's
Well,
really
I took a nut to make this, so
Anyway.
Wow.
You said
and
it,
the
not
threads
us.
the threads were just hand chased, so okay.
Super job.
Yep.
Just
Fantastic.
beautiful.
Great.
What's the other wood?
Walnut.
Walnut? Okay. Very
Okay.
nice.
Thank you.
Did
Thank you
you
very much,
have
Ruby.
to did you have to use any CA or anything on that walnut to hand chase it?
Nope.
Nope. She's better than I am.
I maybe just had a good piece of walnut, that's all.
Is that it? It doesn't really look like black walnut. Is it English walnut?
No, it's black walnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right. Well, thanks, Ruby.
Did you chase the grains on the end grain or on the side grain?
They're on the side grain.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, if you look at the top, I'll see if I can get it close enough. The grain is running that way.
Wow.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. All right. Great. Next up is Clayton. What you got, Clayton?
Hey, hold on. It came up that I need to unmute it, but I just did. So,
Yeah, you get that delayed sometime.
yeah. Hi. Getting back from SWAT, I just want to show some of the things that I brought for the gallery. Because I went small and then I went big. So the first one, and I kind of just laid these out on the table, but they are mini captive rings that I think the biggest one is 3/16 and the smallest one is a little bit less than a 16th of an inch.
Oh
And
my goodness.
there were two of them in there that were doubles, and I set them out on the table, and where it said if they were for sale or not, I said no, but like just take one. So this is about half of what was left. Or about half
Yeah,
was
I wasn't paying attention to the cards when I did that part in the video. I did mention the fact that those little things were captive rings, but I didn't realize they were yours.
No. So
Wow.
I actually forgot to take a picture of the gallery, like the way that I set up everything in the gallery, and somebody posted it on Reddit. So that's the only photo that I have, and I was grateful for that. So that was the small one, and then the big one was, I gotta come back a little bit for this one. Um, I made an armillary sphere because it looked complicated, but it wasn't. So all the different things kind of spin independently, and this is mostly just one or two boards of cherry. And the base down here is I'm not gonna say it right, but Kurupe, some kind of rosewood. Um, but yeah, this ended up being a lot more fun, a lot more simple than I was expecting. So I'm gonna make more of these.
Wow.
Are the rings turned or are they cut and
They're all turned. They all
Turned.
like every bit of this is
Very
turned.
nice. Very nice.
So
How did you turn them?
where is the
No,
center?
Just
Hold
give
on,
us a
that
brief
was
description.
several questions, and I'm gonna answer them all with yes.
Right.
No, the question was give us a brief description how you turn those things.
So each one came from, I started with two boards that were maybe a little over an inch thick of 11 by 11 cherry. This bigger ring and these two main supports were the same size. I just cut one in half, and then with the other half, cut it in half again, so they all kind of meet up together, and that keeps it all a similar diameter. Then from there, as I would cut it down, see like this ring with all the grooves in it lines up, and then I would just step down. This one actually, this one also rotates, but not well. So then each one would just step down from the next one. And the only one that was really ever complicated is this one and this one because they're the same diameter. So I had to cut it and then use a really thin parting tool with like to part down side grain. And the sphere, like it's supposed to look like brass, so I'm gonna keep working on that finish because the rods that connect it, this is just two rods all the way through, and they are actual brass. So the goal will be once I can figure out the finish the right way, that'll all look seamless.
You are an amazing person.
Man,
Well,
you've
thank
got
you.
my attention.
Nice.
I need a picture of that.
I'll need to take a picture of it for the newsletter because I showed it, and so
Oh
by
my
law,
goodness.
I'm obligated to put it in the newsletter.
Yeah, obligated.
That's right. It is the law.
By
You're
law.
correct. It's law.
Okay, so I've got.
We'll bust on your door.
You're welcome to, because then I'm going to show you my shop and make you turn something and teach me something. Okay,
No, you got my
so
attention on that one.
I think Billy, at the start of it, you were talking about I just did SWAT for the first time, and then somebody later was talking about how wood turning is a virus, and so it has absolutely spread. As soon as I got home yesterday, I started my application to Chicago, and am working on the one for. There are at least two others that, like, I got one symposium done, and now I just want to do them all. So
The Ohio Valley is big.
I will have to look for that one too. A few months ago, I did the application for the Raleigh one, the national DAW one, and the demo that I picked was the side grain boxes. And this one is out of a complete log, so it's all matched. The knob is just the spalted sapwood, but it's just some black walnut, and even has a bug hole all the way through. But it's fun because it's all textured on the inside. So this one has a like a 3-leaf rosette in it, and then it generally will match on the underside. But then I started showing people that, and so now this is pretty much what I do kind of nonstop. I keep getting orders. So now I have a wedding match set. So these are the same piece of walnut, the same piece of maple, but let's see if I can do but each one has So just a smooth finish on one side with some like nice curl and figure and everything. And then the underside is all like severely textured. So this one has, I guess, a little sunburst pattern. So whatever the pattern is matches what's on the underside.
Cool.
And I tried to make them match.
Well, you
It's a
did.
nice touch. That's a nice touch.
Yes, it
And
is.
so this one also, but each one has the same kind of knob with curly maple going across, and then walnut. And
Hey,
so this one
Clayton,
has, yeah.
I see an issue with that. The one
Tell
in
me.
your left hand. It's not sitting in my collection.
These are sold. I had a friend who needed a favor real bad, so now he owes me a favor, and that's
There you go.
where
Those
these
are
are
always
going.
good.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm getting a list of demos that I can offer clubs and stuff because that's the fun problem that I have now, and I'm so excited to have it. So this has been one of the projects that I've been thinking about, either just a demo or demo and workshops. Anything anybody wants to do. I'm just having fun now.
Well, you know, you got a
Right.
vacation to come to up at Level Up. So
Yeah,
we'll talk.
I figured I was looking on the website for emergency demonstrator backup, like second string demonstrators. Couldn't find the link.
I'll
So
talk to you.
okay.
I can say right now, we got a spot for you on. Yep. Couple spots.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah,
talk.
you can have one of my slots, Clayton.
Go ahead, Dane. Make my
No,
life more difficult.
we have some available.
Yeah, and
We do.
it really
We're
was like
good.
that. Yeah, this has just been a very good week, and I don't know. It like
It makes you look younger. It's good on you.
it's been so much fun. So like it all started Thursday where Billy came up to me and said, I was sitting with my local club at a restaurant, and he just walks up and says, "What are you doing? You should be sitting with your club." And I was like, "Okay, cool." I was never the cool kid in high school, so to be wanted in the cafeteria to like, no, sit with us.
Outstanding. That made all the ones at your club a little jelly, huh?
It did, and I loved
it. Right? And so now they're looking.
Well, we
now
all
they're looking
enjoyed
at you through a
meeting
different lens,
See, what did I tell you guys?
right?
Yeah.
I just
Oh,
want
I
to say,
knew.
I want to say Clayton is a natural.
Yes.
Trading. Watching him,
Yeah, he is.
he talked through the whole thing, explained everything he was doing. It was a fantastic demo, Clayton. It was top notch.
Thank
Well,
you.
Absolutely.
Hey, Joaquin, did you watch his demo for us?
Yeah, I got at the end of it. I haven't gotten back to watch the whole thing.
Oh, okay. He did a superb job for it. You know, it was a tune-up.
I appreciate that. I was so nervous going into it because I had only turned for my local club, which is all, just all my friends, and I just get to hang out with them. And then I get to SWAT and I look at so many of y'all, and it was the same thing again. I was just getting to hang out with my friends.
We're just a bunch of friends.
That's all it was. Yeah. And it made it so relaxing and fun. And so, yeah, that's why I want to keep doing it.
Yeah, like Eddie says, we're just a bunch of folks hanging out in the tailgate talking wood turning.
Yeah. Amen.
Exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's what I had to show. I appreciate it. And
All right. Well,
All right.
thanks,
Thanks,
Clayton.
buddy.
yeah, thank you.
Nice job. Next up is Dennis.
Hey,
What you
Chief.
got, Dennis?
Hi. Good evening. I got a long one here, but this is can you see it good? Let me try to get better light for you if we can. I showed this before I finished it. It was like a little little walnut wing bowl, and I did a little embellishing here with a
Nice.
knife. Can you see it?
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
It looks great, Chief.
I'm getting there. I'm not getting up to the class of some of this stuff, but I'm working on it. A little dried vase, flower vase, piece of ash,
A weed pot.
wheat pod. Yeah, that's what you call them, I guess.
Almost looks like a Erlenmeyer flask.
It does.
And,
I like it.
This was a little maple platter,
Nice.
and
Nice.
it started out bigger, but it had some checks in it, and my filling job with the epoxy didn't turn out. It wouldn't harden. I don't know if I didn't mix it right. And then tonight I turned this walnut bowl. It's not finished. It's popped, but I got to finish the sanding on it.
Wait.
So that's that. Then I started. Let's see. I watched last week's demo, and I listened to Al, and then Bob, and I started, but I turned it around the wrong way. So I'm going to fix it because I think I can. This is the top. I made the story stick, and I turned it around. So this is the top, and I'm going to have to part this off and redo it. But
I don't know, it looks like that'll work as it is.
Yeah,
Well,
use the bottom
it
as a
will,
finial.
But Bob cut this side, it was reversed. But anyway, the next one I do will be reversed. So that was my first inside out turning. So I jumped
Very
into it.
cool. Very cool. Way to
Outstanding.
wade in.
Further along on it than I am.
Well, and then the biggest thing, like Bob said, is your glue. Don't use a lot, and you don't want it to come out, but ooze out to get into the wood fibers because it'll, but it popped out pretty easy. So, and then the only thing that I was a little unsure of is when he said it was 5/8, and it's tough to see, but I did the 5/8 on the curve versus this here. So I think that's what he was trying to describe. But anyway, that's what when I get it finished, I'll show you. So
Cool.
that's what I'm doing.
Very nice. Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Next up is Norm. What you got, Norm? You have to unmute
Muted.
yourself. There we go. Yep, there we go.
Well, I haven't been able to be in the wood shop much for the last few months. I haven't been here for the last few weeks because life. But I finally got out there and I made some cherry bowls. So I made this one. I finished
Pretty.
Nice.
Pretty.
with beeswax.
Nice.
I made this one yesterday.
Oh, that's nice.
Very nice.
Good. You got the bark stay on that one. Nice.
Then I started making this one, and this was supposed to be
Nice
the bottom
inclusion.
when I started. And then I come across this, and I thought, boy, I'd like to save that.
Yeah.
Right.
Turned it over and started over and made this the bottom.
Good.
How did you have it? How did you have it chucked when you discovered that? Did you have it
Just
between centers?
Yeah, between centers.
Outstanding. That's the reason why you could flip it around so easily.
Yeah. Nice
And
call.
that's,
That's the beauty.
I
Good
think I
call.
learned that. I think I learned that here, and that's
Yes, you
pretty
did.
much the only way I do it now, between centers.
Yes.
I love it that way.
Love that wood.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is cherry that I got from a neighbor of my
Really?
brother-in-law, and he was down for about a year in his woods, and he wanted to know if I wanted it. So I got a whole tree of it, 2 trees actually.
Nice.
Nice. Anytime I can
Yeah.
leave an organic feature in a piece, I do.
Right. Yeah. Me too.
Mm-hmm.
Made this bowl.
I love that.
I love that grain.
Yeah. That's
Yes.
some pretty cherry.
This one.
Wow.
So this is what I've done the last week and a half. I finally got out there and
You've been busy.
Wow.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Norm, go back to the second bowl.
This one?
Yeah. To keep the bark on, did you super glue the canyon layer or anything?
did.
Or did it? You did. Okay.
So
Soaked
I
it with thin CA.
I did. I put thin CA on it. and then before I sanded it, and then once I sanded it, I put it on again.
Okay.
Nice.
So it's got 2 coats on, inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
I love how
Yeah, but that's
thin you
the-
took that. That
Very
that
nice.
just
That's
makes
that's
that
the way
bowl
to do
so
it.
light.
Yeah. So it was fun.
Nice job. All of them.
Thank
Good
you.
job, Norm.
Nice job, Norm. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brent's got something.
Okay, this is a piece that I showed a long, long time ago, but Dane asked me to show it again and such. And this was up at SWAT, but so some of you will recognize it, but
Yeah, now I remember it.
okay.
I saw that.
Yeah, this
I
is my,
didn't remember seeing it before.
it was a year or 2 ago. I don't remember, a long time ago, but so yeah, it's just, I call it my Juniper Gyro.
That's great.
Folks, Brent had some really nice stuff in SWAT.
Oh my gosh, that guitar bowl.
I got to tell you, I walked in there after seeing all that other stuff. I feel like a total hack after comparing.
Oh, no. You had some nice
Aaron, I was
stuff
about
in
to
the
tell you the
gallery,
exact
buddy.
same thing.
We all do
Yep.
that.
I actually
Yeah,
took
I
a
know.
picture of that and the name tag so that I could get in touch and be like, hey, how did you make yours spin so well?
They're just
Yeah,
brass.
that was excellent.
It's just brass pins, and the critical thing is they can't drill all the way through. They drill through one side, but not all the way through the other because it has to. That's what controls the depth. So depth, it can't go side to
Oh.
side here. So these holes on this side are only very shallow to control the depth on that, because otherwise it just flop back and forth all the way. So it's-
Yeah, I had that problem.
Does it spin? Does it spin now on the half hole or on the? Does it as the axis that spins on the partial hole or the whole?
on the
shaft?
partial hole.
The
Because
partial hole. Okay.
the hole coming through here, that assembly was very,
Yes.
I laid awake at nights trying to figure out how to assemble this thing.
hmm
Assembly is quite critical and such. So they got the partial hole, and then these have to come through here and
Yes.
hold that together.
Okay.
They have a super glue holds that in place on this side, but it's free on the partial hole side.
And
So-
each one of yours is gimbaled. Clayton, yours is only 2-axis, right? Was it 2-axis or?
It's 2-axis. The other one, the big, like, I think for whatever this is, it's supposed to be like a ring of the zodiac.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
the only one that is that has a second axis to it. Otherwise,
Second
everything
axis.
spins. hmm
Okay. Beautiful.
And mine
Yeah.
was
I
mine was
loved
actually
that
kind of
piece, though.
yeah, mine was inspired by I was watching Apollo 13 one night, and they were sitting here talking about, don't lock up the 8-ball or whatnot, the gimbal on their navigation side. So I had to go look that up and see the gimbal that they used in the Apollo and such. It's like I could build one of those things and such. So that's where this came. It's
Oh,
very
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
It shows. Yeah. Beautiful.
Killer.
Very, very cool.
Great job.
And you assemble it from the inside out, right?
Maybe I don't remember. That was a long time
Yeah,
ago.
you would have to. That's what he showed.
Yeah, I think so. Because this,
Yeah, I kind of think, yeah.
well, I could do it either way, probably, because it rotates anyway. I could take it apart, but it'd be easiest from inside out. But so that's that.
Thanks, Brent. Me
yeah.
and Billy
Thank you, Brent.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, Billy, you there?
I are.
It are
Just-
your turn.
Just a quick. I'm gonna type this into the chat so that this is a wood. Carrari, also known as Brazilian oak. If anybody tries to get you to buy some of this stuff or give you some of this stuff, run. Don't
Run away. Run.
run. on a Saturday last month, I was down at our club president's shop. One of our turners bought 4 or 5 pieces of this stuff somewhere and brought it in and started turning it. And he'd get a little bit turned and he'd go to the grinder, and he'd get a little turned, he'd go to the grinder. He finally gave up on it and threw it in the trash basket. A few minutes later, I saw it in there and I said, "What is this?" And he told me, and he said, "I gave up on it. I don't think it was the same guy that gave me the lighthouse blank, the flame box elder." He said, I can't turn it. And so, to me, challenge accepted. So I put it in the lathe, and and
No,
I
just
spent,
go ahead.
I spent 20 minutes on that piece trying to get a little bit of tear out that he had in it. 20 minutes. And I made a 1/32 of an inch dent. And I would sharpen, and I would go back and I'd sharpen. So the club president, I said, I give up. And I threw it back in the garbage can. Club president decided he was going to give it a whirl. And it took him several hours, and he used nearly every tool in his possession.
James.
And sharpened them multiple times, and finally got a bowl shape inside and out. But it's very, and it doesn't matter how much you sand it, it still feels fibrous-y or cottony or something. It doesn't get smooth. So, make a long story short, he takes a piece of this stuff to SWAT and challenged Stuart Batty. Stuart Batty puts it on his lathe and never got it into a bowl shape, but he got it turned down in like a square bowl somewhat. And he tried 5 or 6 of his tools and sharpened each one of them no less than 5 or 6 times to get that. And it took him, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes, maybe 30. And he took it off the lathe and he handed it back to James, and he said, nope. Stuart thinks there's a lot of silica in it. I've turned woods with a lot of silica, and they're nothing like that one. I think there may be another mineral along with silica, maybe that tree has taken up. I'm not sure. I haven't looked it up to see what stuff it takes, but just don't go anywhere near that stuff. I mean, it'll drive you nuts, and it'll eat your tool edge in like 2 seconds. I mean, completely shred a tool edge in less than 2 seconds. It's crazy.
Wow. Great. And I got two blanks of that.
It was really funny, Billy.
Who has 2 blanks of that?
Yep.
Dan.
Oh, Dan, I'm sorry.
Billy, it was really funny because James came by and he told me about the wood, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to Stuart. There's no, I got to see if I can stump him." And then like it wasn't even 10 minutes later, I thought, and you and him came back by just giggling that it had dulled every tool in his cabinet over there.
Yeah, he told me he was going to give it to Stuart, and I said, "Well, let me know when he starts turning it." And so I went into Mike Mahoney's demo, and I get this text message from James. Stuart's working on it. So I had to leave Mahoney's demo for a little bit to go watch Stuart give up on it so I could go back to Mike's.
Funny. Too funny.
Yeah,
Julie
that
knows
stuff.
I'm gonna look that up too. I'm not familiar. I remember James talking about it when he demoed.
It's nasty. It's nasty.
We stopped at James's shop 2 days after, and he showed us that bowl. It doesn't look bad. I mean, it looks just like a piece of anything else.
Yeah.
It's hard as a rock. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah,
I
the
wouldn't
internet
go
says
Texas.
Internet says it's 30% harder than North American oaks.
At least.
At least.
North American
Sounds like
oaks.
you did get your mileage.
I don't. A lot of people say, "Oh my God, you turn oak, but you turn it dry," and I'm like, "Well, yeah. I don't turn wet wood, so all my stuff is always dry." And Stuart makes fun of me for that fact too. But I know I don't have a problem turning dry hardwood, but I had a problem with that stuff.
Hey, this is the stuff right here, right?
Who's asking that question?
Dan, I didn't see him. Yep, that be the beast.
That will be probably the $14 I spend unwisely.
I told James, and the crazy part of it is that stuff was milled.
Yeah.
And then after it was dried, it was milled again and sold as blanks. And the saw cuts on it looked really, really nice. And I told James, I said, I wouldn't put that on my table saw in a million years. I said, I'm not about to ruin $125 forest woodworker 2 blade on that thing, because it would tear that carbide all to pieces.
Yep.
We
But
tried carbides on it.
I was getting ready to try it. I will.
We tried carbides. We did. We tried carbides on it. It just laughed.
Nothing's worse than being laughed at by a piece of wood.
No, I've never been defeated by a piece of wood, but that one did.
Funny.
Yeah, they just say it has a high silica content.
And then some, I'm afraid.
It says other trace minerals, but all it says is it has a high silica content, which is what contributes to the hardness and the blunting of tools.
Where is it grown?
South America.
Brazil.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it's over on the Amazon side where it's soaking up sediment from the river and the river runoff.
Possibly.
I'm shocked that it's that hard.
I know,
So
right?
was I.
Everything grows so damn fast down there. It looks like it'd be a softer wood.
Well, they just say that it
some of their-
absorbs high amounts of silica. Like all dirt and sand is basically silica. So
Silica,
I suppose that. What's that?
Go ahead.
So it has to go. It has to do with how much the tree will absorb and entomb in the wood, if you will.
Right.
Possibly like ironwood. Ironwood, when you first cut it, it's wet. It's soft.
Oh, you're talking about hornbeam. That's not ironwood. That's just a nickname for it.
Well, I'm going by what I was taught to call it.
Yeah.
Is that what desert ironwood is? Desert ironwood is hornbeam?
No, two different woods. Hornbeam is what grows up on that side of the Mississippi and up north.
Oh.
But when it's
fence
green,
rows.
Different parts of the
soft.
country.
You dry it out and you can't cut it with a knife. You can't even split it with an axe.
Different parts of the country have different woods that they call ironwood.
Yeah, like I said, nicknames.
Yeah.
It's a nickname, Southeast Ohio, they call locust, ironwood, but still locust. It's not ironwood.
Yeah. Well, I've turned desert ironwood. It's hard, but it's not unturnable.
I don't know what the real name for it up here is, but we call
In Michigan,
iron.
It's called hornbeam.
Yeah, Dane's right. They call it hop hornbeam,
Right.
Ostraya virginiana, and that's what we here in Michigan call ironwood. But Dane's right. It's hop hornbeam.
But there's two different types of bark.
What were you going to say, Mark?
No, it is hop hornbeam. That's what grows around here in Georgia.
Right. Yeah, the only place where true ironwood grows at is in Arizona, parts of California, and parts of Texas and New Mexico, and obviously Sonoran Desert and Mexico.
Nightland.
It's called Sonoran Desert Ironwood, and that it has its own. For a log to get 2 foot in diameter, it grew for 600 years.
Yeah, they say it's a really
It
slow
is
growing
an
tree.
extremely, and I've got, when I'm able to move better, behind my lathe, I've got big logs behind my lathe that are just sitting there, waiting to become something. But yeah, it's beautiful wood. It turns like frozen chocolate, but it's very chippy. And you got to sharpen, like every 5-7 minutes. It will tear up your tools.
Well, I had a good day today.
There's a
All right,
there's a-
so with that, let me do the demarcation here. So we're after the top of the hour, so this is the demarcation point for the official meeting. I will keep it open for the after hours, and so with that, we can carry on for a discussion.